Hey guys, welcome back. We're here for the second episode of Summer in Woodlake. Here with me, I have Finn Bardies.
Hello,
I
it is
have
me.
Mad Fishmonger, and I have Remley Farr
Yes, you
as the
do.
players. Jeez, I like the enthusiasm. I haven't had my coffee yet, so if I disappear, you'll know why. Also, running the game is the amazing Petra, who was speaking German before, and I don't remember anything that we're doing in this game anymore. Petra,
So
you
was
want to give us a recap?
yeah, I so I guess if things completely derail, I'm just going to start speak German to me in my cold ridden voice. Anyway, yes. So last we left off, we were um at the youth center in Woodlake, which was just reopened after at least half a year of being renovated. Ran out of money halfway through, but then finally were able to fix everything up. And they had planned this big 2-day festival. That was ribbon cutting and whatnot. And then our four characters, who are childhood friends at the ages, or not childhood, so of the age of 19 and 20. They all came there. Some of them were there to help out with the event. We have, for example, Dubs, who is working at um, the company Organs Loggins, and who had set up a table to try and persuade people to become a logger? Is that what you call it? A lumberjack or lumberjane?
Arborist.
An
Thank you very
arborist.
much. That's what we say in the professional logging community.
The arborist. Okay. Wonderful. Um, Rem, could you give us a reminder what Dubs looks like, real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah. Dubs is you can see him about 30 miles away because he'll usually wear a neon colored t-shirt with the Oggins Loggins logo on it, as many folks who work this kind of job tend to wear. Sturdy brown pants, they're meant for work. Usually has some kind of dirt or grime on him because he's just always, you get dirty when you play with trees. Um, Scruffy. He doesn't have like the lumberjack beard that you see so much. He just got that permanent, not so much like a 5 o'clock shadow, more like a
A
like a
fuzz.
nine o'clock eclipse going on. And he's got a truck just full of all these different tools, hedge trimmers, whatever he would ever need when it's time for him to go down and work for the business. And he's got some bags under his eyes almost permanently, which is because doing all this physical labor's kind of roughed him up a little bit. He's always kind of worn out, tired, sleepy. That is Dubs.
All right, thank you. And then somebody else who is really into trees, among other
Mm.
things, but for a completely different reason or reasons, is Leia, who is our college freshman. And so Dubs chose, or he is based on the playbook, The One Who Never Left. And then Leia is based on the playbook, The College Freshman. And
Yeah.
she has been an activist for many, many years, driving
Always.
the good cause to save whatever needs saving, and now is trying to give her activist spirit an academic foundation, as she has left for college a year ago to study sociology and is now back on her first summer break. Um, yeah, what does Leia look like?
She's pretty average looking. Always pretty clean, pretty tidy. She has long brown hair. It's usually up her ponytail. She has some freckles and a little bit tanned from spending time outside. She always has a shirt with some kind of charity logo, like whatever thing she's sponsoring recently. And she has jewelry handmade by her sponsor children.
Right. I already forgot about that.
Yeah, I
Right.
did forget
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so she's got a couple of pieces of, a couple of bracelets and maybe a necklace or something that are just, handmade with local beads and things
Yeah.
like that. So, she dresses pretty neatly but functionally, just
All right.
jeans and a shirt kind of thing.
And Leia is also the only one who is actually working at this event. I mean, Dubs is running. Dubs is running that table and handing on flyers, but Leia is the one who is was turned into like a maid servant.
They usually call you a gopher because you go for this and you go for that. Go for do this. Go for.
Wait,
go
is that really where it comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I learned something new.
Gopher.
That makes me so
I've
happy.
I've worked on movie sets and I've been a gopher, so.
Oh. Yeah, but that is exactly what she is, because Chat, whose actual name is Pablo Gutierrez, but who
I always forget. Did I have a stroke last episode? I'm sorry. I thought he was just Chad.
was it Pop?
No, you're right.
He was a drug addict, and then he
So when I asked what is his name, Matrish suggested Pablo, and then you said he's a Chat, and then so
Is a nickname, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I added the family name.
Okay.
Since our last.
He's
so
into like supplements and CrossFit and also helping the teens.
So he is running this youth center with a lot of enthusiasm and heart blood, because he has gone through a very hard time in his youth himself, lived on the street, did a lot of drugs for a while, and eventually managed to rehabilitate himself, and has been running the youth center for about 4 or 5 years, I would say. And at some point, he got the nickname Chad. And it wouldn't surprise me if it was Mila, along with someone else who dubbed him that at some point. But anyway, so Leia is the one who was just running around, taking care of this and that, and doing so without complaining, which, in my opinion, she earns a lot of kudos.
Oh, she very rarely does.
And then we have our Quinn. Quinn it's you. It's based on the playbook, The College Dropout. And yeah, he dropped out already some time ago and has been was hiding on campus for some time until the end of the semester.
Yeah.
And then I was actually thinking about this, Finbar, because you said that he was trying to be at the youth center for as long as possible. So I was thinking that even though the youth center was only reopened on this very day that we're still at, that most, or at least the second floor was already done, where Chad has his office and whatnot. And so I would say that Chad actually gave you a makeshift staff ID and also slipped you a key.
I think, like I was supposed to be helping and doing as much as Leia was during the event, but I have no sense of responsibility. So I think when Quinn was found taking
you
a really extended
whining.
break.
You started whining when all you had to do was carry an armful of water bottles. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
no need to
Quinn,
drag me in public.
Quinn is drifting right
that's
now.
probably a good word for it.
Not really sure what to do, and the only person who knows so far that he dropped out is his friend Dubs.
Yep, which went down super well.
Yeah, because the two of them had planned at one point to start their own business.
Sure
eventually.
did.
And Quinn went to college, in the hopes of accumulating enough academical knowledge or academic knowledge to have that add to the business or flow into the business and get the necessary know-how to successfully run such an establishment. But alas, it didn't work. So he's back. He also made some awkward attempts at flirting with one of the sheriff's kids, Alex, which I think, all things considered, went pretty well.
It worked out a lot better than I was expecting when I think my opening line was to accuse him of a foot fetish in front of a bunch of people I didn't know.
Yeah, but Alex, who used to be more of the reserved of the two twins, because what you said last time,
Yes.
being a the sheriff's son, you have to watch out what kind of image you're projecting while around others, and who now, after his first year at college, has found himself and looks very stylish.
He figured out who
very
he
handsome.
was and is rocking it, where Quinn figured out who he was, that is to say, a giant fuck up.
It's a pleasure.
What does Quinn look like?
To have you.
So Quinn, I believe I've described him previously as he's like probably a little taller than average, but I think would previously maybe have been described as skinny, and like probably having just escaped lanky, and nowadays has kind of, after several months of eating in proper depression hole eating habits, is like worryingly skinny. And yeah, he just tends to look kind of like he's just rolled out of bed. He's got very dark hair that's usually received all of the styling attention of, well, he washed it and then he walked outside and the way it dried in the air is what it looks like now. And that's the kind of clothes he wears tend towards the what doesn't have a food stain on it, so everything is wrinkled or old or whatever's kept its shape somewhat. So yeah, that's the Quinn vibe, the Quinn aesthetic, if you will.
All right. And then last but not least, we have Mila, and her character is based on the playbook, the high
school graduate.
Yes, the high school graduate, exactly. And she decided to, for now, take a job. So 911 operator in Woodlake. So she's privy to a lot of interesting stories and things she never wanted to know, and also subject to many prank calls in the past, mostly run by dubs, and yeah, trying to get out, or hoping to get out of Woodlake eventually, but lacking the means for now, and also more or less living on her own because her father is barely ever around. It might not be even alive anymore.
Who knows?
What does Mila look like?
Mila's very pale, probably average height, 5'6", 5'7". She's always wearing distressed jeans, combat boots, lipstick, and that's about it. Her hair's always in a messy bun. She looks pretty much the same every day, just a different t-shirt, different jeans.
All right. Okay, great. So this festival of reopening the youth center started out just fine. Although some of you enjoyed it more than others, Mila needed a little bit of preparation time, sitting in the car, sipping a really strong coffee before going in. And there she met the two sheriff's kids, Alex and Hannah, and noticed that Hannah, the shorter of the two twins, and usually the more cheerful and perhaps also the more naive one, or perhaps more gullible one of the two, seemed to be really out of it, of sorts, looking a little bit pale and unfocused, and but not even her brother seemed to know what was going on. And then Dubs saw a boy who stood right next to the entrance of the men's restroom, staring at the wall and not reacting to him at first when he approached him, and eventually just mumbled about something that he did not know how to put his whole heart into it, and then suddenly snapping out of it and calling Dubs a weird old person and scuttling off. And then both Mila and Leia experienced hallucinations of sorts, where they were talking to people or near people, and these people suddenly addressed them directly in a very unusual way, in a very monotone voice, but nobody else around them saw that. And they were both asked,
and I miss you.
in almost the same thing. Are you doing enough? Do you think it's enough what you're doing to get out of here, or to make a change? And that it's really important that you put your heart and your soul into it. So that happened, and then there was a concert. Or, well, that was a plan. It didn't actually get that far. So Chad had organized the band, the Lucky Clovers, from the next big town over, an indie folk, like very indie, very alternative folk band with, what was the lineup? It was a bass.
There was an accordion.
An accordion.
I know that. Bagpipes.
Bagpipes. I keep forgetting the bagpipes. Yeah.
Oh
How
yeah,
could you
and then
forget
I think
the
there
You
were
can
also
never
like,
forget them.
drums and a guitar or something as
Maybe
well.
a tambourine.
Oh,
Oh,
for
obviously,
sure.
tambourine.
Really everything. Every instrument you could
and,
think
and
of.
a gong. Let's throw a gong in there.
Yes.
Which is
That's how
just
they
a little
start.
like tabletop.
Yes, and there was a guitar because the front man, who I called Mike, who then also got the nickname Sunflower. So apparently everybody in this band has a call sign. Let's call it that. So far we only know that the front man is called Sunflower.
Together they make a bouquet.
Oh.
Guys,
Oh.
thanks so much for joining us this week.
Oh no, Quinn died.
I mean,
Look, don't joke about that. He already has a harm.
Oh, yeah, true.
I'm currently facing down a person trying to scoop out their own. Well, I'll let
Yes,
Petra.
right.
get
That
there.
is
Yeah.
where it gets to, because the four of you were asked by Chad, or not really asked, but more ordered by Chad to help the bands out with whatever needs they had in order to get ready for the concert. To get them water bottles and maybe a snack and whatnot. And then as the concert was about to start, or was supposed to start, the front man was gone. Nobody could find them, and then the only female member of the band waved over Quinn and Leia as they were looking for Mr. Mike Sunflower, and were pointed into the direction of the men's bathroom, where Quinn entered and indeed found the Sunflower guy in one of the stalls, happily, well, not happily, but carving away with a pocket knife at his own chest. And
Happily, you were gonna say, time out. Let's just take this back a second. Time out. Sidebar. He was gonna happily carve out his chest?
no, happily carving away at his chest. That is what I was
I feel like you should have
say.
gone with that.
Like carve out the chest, not his
I'm
heart.
just picturing
his
like
chest.
the.
No, I'm picturing the pumpkin that my mom actually carved out earlier today.
Oh.
But and he also kept mumbling things about that he was very desperate to literally put his heart into it, whatever it might be. But yeah, Quinn was a little bit taken aback when he saw that, sort of jumped backwards, fell, hit his head. That is when Leia entered, and Quinn started to convulse on the floor, and his eyes rolling back into his head. And at the same time, shit started happening outside amongst the crowd that had gathered in front of the stage. several people apparently had also dropped to the floor, as did Dubs, who plopped to the floor and started convulsing. And same thing happened to Hannah, who was there with her brother, and apparently he was about to just get her into the car. She seemed to be feeling, worse than before. But then she too dropped to the floor and started convulsing right after Mila saw that, and again, that is only what she saw, that Hannah stared at her and spoke to her through the side view mirror of her car, which Dubs did not see or hear. And so now that is where we are. Let's start outside. So people start to scream and shout now. One of the band members on the stage actually also has collapsed and is twitching uncontrollably on the stage. And then people have already started calling out for somebody to call an ambulance. You do see a couple of people on their cell phones. But you, Mila, are presented with the view of your good friend Dubs lying in front of you on the pavement, or on the gravelly road where all the cars are parked, and convulsing.
This is right after she sat in the car because she was gonna faint, or he caught her or something, right?
Yes, exactly. So you saw Hannah looking at you and talking to you and saying, do you think that what you do is enough? To get to where you want to get out of here. And then you blinking and everything sort of turning normal again, and Hannah talking to her brother, and you feeling a little bit faint. It's like, okay, what's going on? And you had this brief conversation with Dubs, because he said, everything okay? And as a reminder, Dubs is convinced that you are taking drugs. So that is probably what he thought. And I think he even alluded to the fact that he thought that it was her taking some drugs.
I think she's going to, because she kind of I feel like she kind of fell into the car a little bit just to kind of catch herself. And then she sees Dubs convulsing. She's going to take her jacket off. She works at a 911 call center, so she's had to be on the phone and be like, hey, if someone's doing this and you're calling the ambulance for them, you would know to
yes,
put something under their head, hold them down, don't let them, whatever. So she rips off her jacket, puts it under his head, and starts taking care of him. She opens her phone, puts it on speaker, calling 911. So she has it on speaker. She's describing what she's doing and going over with someone that she probably hands the shift off to. So it's a first name basis of her, hey, so-and-so, I'm doing all the things that they told me to do. How, I know there's police here for the event. Is there an ambulance around the corner that we, she's going through the motions of her job's kicking in type thing.
Yeah. So calling whoever it is, let's say it is Lorraine right now, she starts to spool off her usual 911, what seems to be and then you already cut her off and saying, hey, Lorraine, maybe she has a really squeaky voice, and so you immediately recognized that that's her. And so you immediately state what's going on. And then 10 feet or so to your right, you hear Alex sort of, you see him kneeling next to Hannah and sort of visibly panicking, going, oh God, Hannah, what is going on? I don't know. What should we do? And he looks over to you.
Yeah, as soon as she'll almost right above it, because you're not supposed to hold them completely still.
Yeah.
But she has her knee just above his chest, so he can't physically turn. But his limbs can move enough that he won't hurt himself. And so she has her knee an inch above his chest, and she's just holding herself up with one of her hands, and she'll look over to him and just kind of be like, do what I'm doing. Take your shirt out of the car, put it up, she'll go through everything and kind of talk him through it and to be calm, and that, someone's on their way.
Okay. And he tries to follow your instructions, but you can see he is visibly shaking, and he has tears in his eyes, but he does take off his jacket and tries to mimic what you were doing as best as you can. And then after about only 20 seconds, maybe half a minute, the convulsions die down, but to you it probably seemed like it was going on for much, much longer.
Yeah.
And Dubs, as you are coming to, you're very disoriented. You feel very dizzy. For seconds, there's a lot of noise, but it's muted, and it's very overwhelming. And then you begin to focus, and you see Mila kneeling over you, and you stare at her, and she stares back at you, and with a very flat voice, she says to you, "You know you'll never get out of here, do you?" And then immediately, all the noises, it's as if somebody turned on the switch, and all the noises around you just start rushing into your ears. Sort of Alex panicking next to you, and people panicking behind you, and you hear Mila actually now talking in a fairly calm and voice, because she is, even though I don't know, Mila, how often you would actually have been in a situation like this, but you're practiced
They probably
enough
just make her do training, so she's used to
Yeah.
like someone fake panicking, so she's just kind of numb to it.
Yeah. So she does look worried, obviously, but given the situation, she pretty much seems in control, at least for the moment, to know what to do.
Once she sees him come back, she'll take her knee off of him and just kind of like, she's like half straddling just like the top part of his chest. So she'll kind of like hop off of him and like run into the car and get a bottle of water she has and put it next to him and just help him up whenever he's ready.
Yeah, Dubs is probably going to be just as he gets up, like, what did you put in that coffee?
Nothing.
What?
It's not just you, and she points over at Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah has also pretty much at the same time as Dubs calmed down, Hannah's convulsions began to subside as well, and you now see her, Dubs, as you look over. So from your perspective, probably the left side, seeing Alex leaning over his sister and sort of one hand holding the side of her face, and her talking, and his eyes are wide, and he's very pale, and Hannah is also visibly shaken and a little panicky, but also still disoriented. And I would actually, let's cut over to the bathroom. So, Dubs, you take one harm from falling, sort of collapsing onto the ground.
The only one who's left out now is Leia.
Oh, well, she has to roll now. Because dear Leia, as she opened the door to the men's bathroom after she heard a dull thud of Quinn falling to the ground, and also him screaming like, what's going on? She pushes open the door, and the first thing she sees is the band guy in the stall looking at her with a slightly crazed look on his face, still trying to carve away at his chest and bleeding quite a bit. And then she looks to the right and to the floor, and there's Quinn, who then also begins to convulse. And so I would like you to roll Keep Cool to see how well you're handling your shit.
All right. Now that's... What do I roll for that again?
Please
It's
handle it well
+9.
and save me. Thank you.
I'm trying.
It's plus mind.
Mind, okay.
Also, everybody, don't forget about your... Ooh, did you roll that right?
He's dead.
Do you have a +0 to mind?
No, she has a
+1.
+1, but she
So
rolled
4?
2 1s.
That is snake
Oh,
eyes.
I didn't.
Ones plus.
Oh, I didn't roll. I didn't scroll over it. Sorry, I forgot it doesn't show the whole thing. Damn, girl, you suck.
Damn.
So I would say you're not kind of keeping it cool.
She's been totally holding it together.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. What the fuck is that?
I mean, it kind of makes sense, because of the 4 of you, Leia has been kind of the straight-laced one, and she seems to be the only person for whom everything has been going, according to plan in a straight line, and so, well, not so much anymore.
So,
Very quickly before I forget it, all of you keep an eye on your special moves that you get from your background, because I roughly remember what you took, but there are some moves that allow you to roll a different stat for a specific move, a stat that would work better for you. But okay, anyway, you yes, you missed, so you pick 2 of these options. I'm just going to read them again. You are shaken to the core, mark 1 breaking point, or you become panicked and accidentally hurt yourself, take 1 harm, or you accidentally hurt someone else, they take 1 harm, or you risk the group's safety.
Don't do me like this.
I think she would panic, and take like a breaking point. I think that would make.
Okay, 1 breaking point. So for you,
There we go.
okay, I'll mark that down. And then you said she's also probably going to panic.
Yeah, like probably just kind of scream and
Shout. Let it all out.
yeah.
Scream. Shout.
So does she actually
out.
then accidentally hurt herself?
Yeah, I would say so. She'll like kind of fall, because she sees the guy cutting himself, and then she sees her friend on the floor. So she wants to kind of dive for her friend to yank him out. So she's going to kind of scrape her hands and knees as she's sort of diving into.
Yeah, or you very unceremoniously sort of bump your knee, smash your knee into the tiles on the floor. That's gonna have a nasty bruise the next day. And yeah, if there's anything scrapey, you're also going to scrape your hands a little bit. Yeah. So okay, you're taking 1 harm.
Yeah, I marked it.
So,
And-
sorry, I was reading the book. Sorry, real quick question. So, if we have harm, the only way to get rid of the harm is to go see someone?
So if you are on your own, you can try to administer first help yourself. It always depends on how well it works. Always depends on what kind of materials you can find. Let's say you're out in the woods. If somebody, I don't know, burns themselves and it's in summer, it might be tricky. I mean, maybe you find a river where you can cool it down. But in general, you can try to stabilize or patch up a wound. But if you do it on your own, you can only heal a wound 1 harm at a time. Although I would also say, if it's a very severe wound, like internal bleeding, you would only be able to do so much.
I don't remember what Mila's harm was.
You have, let me double check.
I remember when it happened. I just don't remember what the harm was. Sorry.
I think you just.
No, you don't have a harm. You have a breaking point, and you have a -1 to your next roll because you rolled Witness the Uncanny.
Okay.
Quinn has 1 harm from dropping to the floor and then hitting his head, and then Dubs has 1 harm from collapsing.
Smack my head off a.
And breaking points don't go away.
Yeah.
If you get a good night's sleep.
Yes. So
that
since
mythical thing.
Drugs. Got it.
I knew it.
I'd already forgot about that.
What are these? Those are my antibiotics. Get rid of them.
Yeah, so since we're playing it as a mini campaign, I do allow you to remove 1 breaking point if you get a good night's rest.
How many breaking points equals death? 5.
You can't die from breaking points, but at the 5th, you experience a mental breakdown, whatever that might look like for you. You're still in the game, but yeah.
You can't control the character anymore.
No, you can. You absolutely can. But then you have penalties to certain, there are certain moves that you cannot roll anymore. And so, for example, if you're in a very risky situation, you have to get out of there. Your friends might have to try to drag you out of there. Yeah, but on the
Okay.
other hand, you would no longer have to roll Witness the Uncanny at that point because it can't really get.
I
worse.
see demons. Yeah.
So yeah, that is the situation. Leia, what are you doing then?
Sorry, so I was dragging Quinn out of the.
Yeah,
Right.
you can totally try to drag him out.
Yeah.
I would say roll push through
Okay.
since it's a challenging physical task. Let me get the push through. When faced with a particularly challenging physical task, such as balancing on a high wall, untying a complicated knot, or escaping danger, roll plus body. And
Okay.
then, depending on how well you do.
Okay, let's hope I don't do double nat ones again.
Oh, it's
Right.
a 6.
6, yeah. 2
You're
and
off to a good start. Same thing again. You pick 2. Jeez. So 1 is you injure yourself, mark 1 harm.
Yeah.
Then same option as before, you accidentally hurt someone else, or as with the other move. They mark 1 harm, you open yourself up to more danger, or you risk the group's safety.
I think maybe both me and Quinn will take harm from me trying to get him through the door while I'm panicking.
Yeah, and Quinn, you can jump in here. What's going to happen? I mean, as you try to drag him out.
How compos mentis am I at this point? Am I still like convulsing and thrashing?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not going to last longer as it did for Dubs. But
Yeah.
as you begin to, I don't know if you're taking him by the legs, he's still convulsing.
I mean, the easiest way that trying to help me hurts Aaliyah if I'm still convulsing and then she grabs me by the like legs is that I kick her like directly in the face. um, just like gets one foot and the other foot's like bang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That would make sense.
I don't know how that like. I imagine with Leah probably having less training in how to respond to a crisis situation. I don't know if anyone has the appropriate training for how to respond to seeing a man try to cut his own heart out. That just like the precautions that Mila was taking to like stop Dubs from hurting himself, Leia isn't taking those, and as such, I like thrash around on the floor and basically just headbutt the tiled floor of the bathroom, which is probably super bad for you.
So then, how does Quinn take another harm? Does he just bump against something?
I think it's just he's just like as Leah is doing like prioritizing getting him out of there. He's just like can't really like control him. I think the simultaneously the thing that gives him the harm is also the thing that kind of snaps him out of his like freak out. Because he basically just like as she's dragging him through the door or something, just like thrashes and smacks his head that kind of sort of ricochets off the door frame into the floor and up.
Leia's like, sorry, it just keeps dragging.
Oh! And yeah, they're just like, he's dropped outside this door, just like, oh my god, ow.
Well, so the end of the convulsions does coincide with you just bumping into, I don't know, maybe parts of the door or something.
Yeah.
Around the corner.
Although it's not proven that this is actually what makes you slip out of it. But by the time that she pulled you out of the room, you have stopped twitching and shaking, and you just like Dubs, you're very, very confused, very disoriented, and also the female member of that group. Let's give her a similar call sign, something that goes with sunflower.
Tulip Shakur.
Wait, what was Tulip and what was the other one?
I said Tulip Shakur. like Tupac Shakur.
Oh god.
But would an indie alternative, super alternative band?
It's very
cover
alternative.
Shakur?
They're so like.
You guys haven't even heard
There's
of
this
him
little
yet.
guy called Tupac. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah.
I was the
Um,
first one to like him.
Yeah,
was
I was
two.
his first fan.
Said the bunch of white kids at a rural community center.
Who are millennials and weren't
Yeah.
around when he was
Uh-huh, yeah.
popular.
I think that Tulip is a strong shout for if they all have flower names. It sounds
Yeah. So
appropriately.
how
awful.
about this? The band members all call her Tulip, but she's trying to establish herself as Tulip Shakur. But
Oh my god, no! Please
Or
don't.
maybe she wants to be
Yes.
Wildflower
Ram, you did this to us.
or
I did.
Harmony.
That's just the beginning.
We're running
something of
stream.
that. But for now, her official call name is still Tulip because the other band members just refuse to
Good.
discuss any of her other name suggestions. But anyway, as soon as obviously she hears all the ruckus, the screaming and the falling, and so she actually, I think she's in the process of also pushing the door open, and that might also how Leia you get more bruises because you're in the process of pulling Quinn out, and then you get the door sort of bashes into your elbow, and then she helps you to get Quinn out, but she also sees her band mate, and she starts screaming bloody murder.
Yeah. What
And-
is Sunflower? Is he like following us? Is he still just hacking away at himself
Yep.
in the by the sink?
Yep,
He's still
Okay.
stabbing himself?
Yep,
Cool.
not stabbing, but
Carving.
really
What's he carving?
Here.
We don't. I didn't get enough of a chance to look before I panicked.
You know what? We'll
Just-
check it in on later. It's fine.
Just gotta open that titty.
So what we see then is a collage of different shots of people running around, chat completely panicked and not understanding what the hell is going on and screaming into his cell phone. There are people who rush into the men's bathroom, who then each of them grabs the arms of the front man of the Lucky Clovers, at which point he actually starts to become a little bit frantic since somebody stopped his good work. And we see in the parking lot Dubs sitting up and shakily taking a sip of the water, and Alex hugging close his sister. And then we see at least 2 ambulances driving or arriving at the scene, and the medics jumping out. And yep.
I think Mila's gonna tell the person she knows them, because she probably dispatches, so or has to do shifts of it. So she probably tells them, and then she's gonna go find the others. She'll be like, I gotta go find them, to Dubs.
Yeah. So yeah, we see Mila talk to them, just giving them information, and but I would say we're going to cut straight to the Woodlake Medical Center, because since Dubs and Quinn were among the people who had these convulsions, you're directly sent straight to the ER. Leia, you're really sort of a little bit beaten up at that point, and also they're trying. Also, you want to accompany your friends, and they're also trying to figure out what's going on. So we're just cutting back straight to the medical center, and we see Leia and Mila sitting in one of the waiting areas. It's not the ER, because what happened is that it's a Friday late afternoon, and a lot of people do a lot of stupid things at that time anyway, so ER was already busy, and they had to take care of some of the people from the festival, just send them to other rooms because the ER was overrun a little bit. But we see the 2 of you sitting there just slumping down in your chairs, and a nurse comes over to you, and she has a clipboard, and asks you, "Okay, honeys, I understand that what just happened must have been really scary for you, but I have to ask you some questions. We're trying to understand what happened here. So, first of all, are you feeling all right?" She looks at you, Leia, and she can see that you look a little banged up, and maybe there's even a little bit of blood flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And say, "Oh yeah, we're going to take care of this, honey." But so otherwise, are you feeling okay? Are you?
I just got a couple of scratches. I just I was just scared. Is
Yes,
Quinn okay?
that's. Um, I haven't Quinn, and she looks at flips through the pieces of paper, the sheets of paper on her clipboard, and she's like, he's in room. Yeah, he's just around the corner. I haven't checked in on him personally, but I know he's being looked after, so don't you worry. And I will let you know when you can go and see him." And then
Oh,
she looks at you, Mila. "And what about you, honey? Are you okay?"
I'm fine. I'm just gonna go look at Dubs. Are you okay, Leia? Can I go check on the other
"Oh,
two?
I'm sorry, honey, but we're running still a couple of tests right now. It shouldn't take too long, 20-25 minutes. But until then, I have to ask you to let the doctors do their thing, and then you can go and be with your friends. I promise. In the meantime, is there anybody we should notify?"
Mila kind of looks over at Leia.
I don't know.
Should we call you parents? Or, I mean, you young people all have your cell phones, and you can, of course, call them yourselves. But if you feel like it's all a little bit too much right now, we can take care of that for you.
I think we're okay. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And then she looks around, and she shouts over, Kara, can we have some of the orange juice and the crackers over here? All right, thank you. And she says, "All right, honeys, just stay here." It's a lot of information together, and but I will let you know when you can go and see your friends.
Mila will just kind of shrug. Thanks. And then she's kind of just looking around at the different stuff in the room. Because I think in hospitals there's usually isn't there usually like a Bible somewhere?
Oh yeah, you will sure find a Bible. So
Yeah.
this is a waiting area. So you'd find several magazines, and there's a little play corner for kids. And you're not the only ones. But it's not as crowded as it was in the ER when you first got there. It was really chaotic there, which is why they sort of shoved you into the normal hospital area. Yep, I would say you find a Bible there.
Yeah, she's probably just looking around the room at the different magazines and wondering while she's talking to Leia. Did anything weird happen when you guys were there?
Everything weird was happening. I don't know. I feel so terrible.
What happened to Quinn that you're worried about him? Is it the same thing that happened to Dubs? Did he fall and start seizing, convulsing?
Yeah. And then, but it was that other guy. And Quinn was in there, and he saw it, and I don't know what happened before I got in there, right? So
You're saying someone else was convulsing? Because Hannah was too, but
no, that guy from the band.
what about him?
She calls you over. Won't tell you. Will only tell you quietly.
Yeah, she'll put the magazine down and go over and sit on at her knees on the bed and lean in.
Cutting.
Oh, you're in a waiting room. You're not in a.
Yeah, we're in the waiting room.
Oh, like on the table, like the
You know where you
Like
have just
like
a lot of chairs and a couple
Yeah.
of tables.
she'll sit on the table and like face you.
He was like cutting himself. Like his chest, he had like his shirt off.
His chest?
Yeah, and he was like cutting himself, and it was really crazy. And I feel so bad because normally, like, I always want to like help people and stuff, but I don't know. I've just never seen anybody do that, and I just like freaked out, and I just wanted to get Quinn away from him because I was so scared that he would get hurt, and I kind of freaked out, and then like grabbed Quinn and I like dragged him out, and I kind of maybe hurt him when I was dragging him out because I did it a little fast.
I mean, anyone would panic in that situation, but did he... When you looked back, it was still real? Because I
don't know. I mean, I think so. Because, like, he was... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Mila, you definitely would have seen the front man, Mr. Sunflower, being rolled out of the youth center on the stretcher.
Would she have seen his chest though, or would she just have seen him with a blanket over?
With a blanket, but I mean, they would have had to put something on it. So I don't think you would have seen necessarily a lot of blood, but you probably would have seen that they put some kind of dressing on his chest, but it didn't necessarily make you think any further, because that could have, people were panicking and whatnot.
Yeah, I think she's trying to relate it to her seeing and hearing Hannah. So she'll kind of repeat what Hannah said. But then I looked back and Hannah was just standing there, and then her and Dubs fell. So I don't know if it was real, or maybe I should go talk to her, see if there was something in that coffee.
Okay, because like that kind of happened to me too, and I thought I was just, well, how busy I've been, right? And I was just like running around, and I didn't really have like enough to eat, and it was really hot, and I wasn't drinking enough water, and so I figured I was just tired. But somebody talked to me in a weird voice, and then I sort of blinked, and then it was like gone. And
I think from now on we should tell each other when we see that stuff, even if it's bad.
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
Fuck this. She's literally says that she's gonna go check and sneak in to see Quinn anyway. Yeah. Actually, is the guy here, the guy with the carved chest, is he in one of the rooms? You're muted. Probably,
but you didn't see where he was brought.
Okay.
And if you were to try and sneak into any of the voices of the room, somebody would keep you, because I would like to have a scene with the boys as well. But yeah, there's medical staff. They would immediately shoo you out, saying no, we have to run some medical tests. This was, you cannot. They had seizures of some kind. This is nothing to joke around. So I would say then we turn back time a little bit.
Because I was going to use her ability thing.
You can definitely do that later.
Dice.
No, you can definitely do that later. But I wanted to give Dubs and Quinn a little scene. Because while the two of you were talking, and sort of also before that making your way to the waiting room and actually trying to figure out where you should wait and whatnot, Dubs and Quinn were put into the same room. And since both of you seem to be fine after you stopped convulsing, you're not put under any, there's no IV in you, but they did, checked your vitals, and they did take a blood sample, so we see some scenes. So people taking a blood sample, and then also Dub's face as he gets a little plastic cup put into his hand and then sent off both of you to the restroom to go and pee into a little cup.
Quinn definitely has at least one ice pack just like held against his head.
Yes, they definitely took care of that. And so both of you, Quinn and Dubs, you can remove that one harm because there's enough medical stuff to take care of, bruises and whatnot. That's the least that.
So I am back down to one harm, or am I at 0 now?
You add one. You are at one harm now.
Okay, so
because you took one, right? You took one from. Oh well, actually.
Because I was at 2.
Yeah. So I would say by the time you get out of here, I mean you will still hurt, right? You have a nasty from falling. You have a nasty bruise, and it's like this big lump, and it's definitely going to hurt you. But so for now you had one harm, and then by the end of the night I would say you're free of all harm. Once they gave you a little bit of pain medication, but they also did the usual thing, checked all your health history with you, asked you all those 1,000 questions. Have you ever experienced something like this before? And then it didn't seem to end, but then all of a sudden they were like, okay, well, we will run these blood samples and the urine samples as quickly as we can. There is the call button, and then our nurse Antonio, he is right around the corner. He makes sure that you have a little bit of time to yourself, so try to relax a little bit, and then I will get back to you as soon as possible. And then the doctor leaves you, and you're just sitting there. So it's an examination room. You're both sitting on the same stretcher.
Okay. Yeah. So oh god. I imagine Quinn is the first one, unless Dubs is gonna come out swinging. There's gonna be an awkward silence, and Quinn will be forced to break it because he can't deal with that to save his life. God, what would be the first stupid thing that would pop into Quinn? I mean, he's gonna go with these things. Like, it's like still holding this thing on his head. He's making a lot of like, ooh, and like sounds of like being sore because that breaks the silence a little bit. But then he's like, I have to say anything, literally anything. So it's like, well, that was really weird. Did you? I didn't know I had epilepsy. Have you seen anything like that before?
I didn't know I had it either, or that sheriff daughter or girl had it either. I thought first that Mila gave me something weird in my coffee, but I'm lost completely.
I don't think Mila's gonna drug you, my guy.
I mean, I wouldn't know for sure. I don't know if maybe it was her drink to begin with, to be honest. So it could have been something she had prepped for herself and just forgot about it and gave it to me. But that's a different story. Not that you would know anything about drugs or anything, but and
I feel I know enough to know that's not coffee isn't the generally used delivery. Okay, whatever.
Have you seen my grandma? Dubs is gonna just be. That's. Did you hear anything weird? Did you say anything weird before something happened to you?
Lots of bored people. Roast bath. Oh yeah, that guy who was trying to cut his own heart out. Yeah, I saw that one. That might
what?
Yeah, that sunflower guy.
Who?
The sunflower band. One who plays the
guy.
Oh,
those. Oh god.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Found their lead singer in the bathroom, and he was trying to just cut into his own chest with like a pocket knife.
That is
Next thing I
New to
know,
me.
I was playing pinball with my own head and most of the bathroom, so the rest of it gets a little blurry. But yeah, that was
There was a little kid hanging out near that bathroom earlier, just kind of staring at it, being kind of weird.
okay.
I don't know if there might have been something to do with that. Not that I think knowing why he was there would really make any sense.
I mean, I said something about like putting his whole heart into it, which I guess if he takes it out, he could put it somewhere else.
True. I mean, except for the whole being dead part, that makes the putting it in.
Yeah,
section,
yeah.
But
I mean, I did. The man was trying to cut his own heart out, Dubs. I don't think he was thinking logically.
well, his name is Sunflower, so obviously he's not logical from the get-go.
Exactly.
No, I don't think so either. Says one of the nurse, and that is actually Nurse Kara, as you can see on her little sign. She heard the last thing you said, and she is carrying a tray with orange juice and some crackers. I just want to leave that here for you, and as the doctor probably already told you, they will come back to you once they have some tests. But you know, if you feel strange in any way, if you feel dizzy, or if you suddenly have trouble with your sight, please, Antonio is right outside, or press a button. We'll be here. And with that, she turns around and goes back. But as it's a swinging door, and as the door swings back and forth a little bit, you hear her talking to Nurse Antonio and says, "I don't understand what's going on here." And Antonio, who's like really big guy, who's like, "I don't know, it's just kids and them drugs." And then Karen goes, "I don't know. I can't help thinking it's almost like Acid Valentine all over again." And then Antonio goes like, "Acid? Oh, you mean that? Yeah. But anyway, I have to get going." And then she leaves the room.
Scuzzy.
So the swinging door is closed at this point.
Actually, no. Rather than like, it's like, I think Quinn does thing like swaps hands, pulls out his phone, and she'd be like, "You ever heard of Acid Valentine?"
No, I mean, what is it like? One of those new emo bands?
I mean, which I imagine is the top Google result.
Yeah.
But I am literally gonna like, I'm going to Google it. It's my
Also, Acid Valentines is a great band name.
And as you start Googling, you hear another voice outside of. So basically, it's this examination room, but then before that is a smaller room where Nurse Antonio sits, and then from there you hear Mila's voice, who demands to be let in, or yeah.
It's okay, Antonio. She's cool.
Well, you know, I'm not supposed to let anybody in until they ran the test. You know, it was already stressful enough for you.
Well,
And he says, like, super enthusiastic as he is flipping through some magazine.
what if she doesn't come in, but she stands at the door where we can talk to her, Antonio? That way you're not breaking the rules. And neither is
come
she.
on, that's really annoying. And he looks at Mila and just nods her in.
Mila had her nose like pressed like a pig against the door, just breathing with the condensation, waiting.
And I would like to quickly cut over to Leia. Leia, you see what Mila is doing, sort of annoying. At the beginning, Antonio was really like, "Come on, just back off. I understand that it's your friends in there. I can't let you in yet. We have to know that everything is fine." And just Mila, like him not being the most energetic person, but he's still at least up to a point taking his job seriously.
Yeah.
And Leia, as you look around, you hear voices behind you and hurried steps. And as you turn around, you see Sheriff Benjamin Thorne and his wife Sophia Thorne as they hurry along the corridor, and both looking very worried.
Okay.
Do I do we hear anything?
Mila, I would say that since you're so focused on breaking Antonio's resistance to get inside, I mean, there's a lot of people in the background, so I don't think that it would stick out to you, but Leia, you notice.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, who I noticed?
It's a sheriff, the sheriff Benjamin Thorne and his wife, Sophia, who again all of you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna bump Mila and whisper, "The sheriff's here," and kind of gesture over there. Now I have an ability to negotiate. Would he be considered my age or older?
The sheriff? Oh, he's older.
No.
What do you mean?
The guy at the door. Alex, was it?
Oh, do you mean Antonio, the nurse?
Antonio, that was it.
Oh, he was already like Mila had already worn him down.
Oh, okay. She was gonna
enough,
let
so he was just being like, ugh.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So I'm gonna be like, the sheriff's here. I'm gonna like shove Mila in the door. We're like,
he said not in. He said not in. Just the doorway. She's getting pushed in.
all right.
Sorry.
Well, then I'll just lean over your shoulder then.
She's already in. It's too late. She was ratting me out. She goes, I tried to stop her, Antonio. I tried.
and I think, Leia, the last thing you saw, sort of looking back one more time, is that the sheriff and his wife, they don't even have eyes for anything what's going on around them. They are halfway down the hallway. They are greeted by Alex, and who is hugging his parents, and they're hugging them. And Alex actually starts to cry a little bit, really upset. And then they walk off, but then they get out of your field of vision.
Can I see where they went?
If you were, I mean, you have a general...
No, she's in the room because sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Like, Leia has a general idea where they went. Like, if the sitting area is here, and so there's this corridor. Like, you're in this corridor, and then there's this corridor, and this sort of, they went 90-degree angle, so just further down. It seems like everybody... for whom they didn't have place in the ER, or where it might be just a more severe case that they were put into directly into normal hospital rooms.
Okay. She'll go and sit at the end of Dub's bed, like by his feet, and just sit.
He's not in the bed. So sorry, the two of them are just in an examination room. So it's just a cot on the side, and then a desk and a computer on the other side, and like a chair for the doctor to sit on, and then all the cabinets holding medical supplies and whatnot. So there's the rolling chair from the doc you could sit on, and there's, I would say, at least 2 more chairs. So,
okay.
I mean, you could squeeze onto the cot with Dubs and Quinn as well if you wanted.
She'll probably take the doctor's chair. Is there a chart somewhere in here? Or anything?
No. They would have taken that with them.
Yeah, they never leave them laying around.
No, like a folder, like when they just the actual clipboard part.
Yeah, I mean, you would definitely find an empty clipboard if you want to play doctor.
She just wants to mess with them. Yeah. She's just spinning in the chair, saying and looking at this clipboard. Yeah, there's one of those see-through plastic holders, stuck to the wall, and then you can just pull out an empty clipboard, and you sure enough will also find a pen. So sweet. I think she's just processing everything and just kind of being dumb.
I imagine while she's spinning, Dove is just going to put his foot out to like catch the back of her chair and make it stop. And just be like, so, what did you see?
Yeah, what's going on? Are you okay, Dubs?
I think I am. I don't know. If it was just me, I I think I'd have more answers, but it's apparently not just me.
Yeah.
Quinn and everybody else seems to be a bit of a massive weirdo series of events that not even the medical personnel here know what's happening.
So far, I'm getting wave of unexplained seizures plus bunch of self-inflicted violence.
Not. I mean, okay. Quinn, do you really remember what happened?
Oh, you're worrying, aren't you? Leah, you need to come over here a second. Come over here. Okay. There's something very important I need to tell you. And like does a big show of like adjusting the ice pack. Oh, right. So, you've got some schmutz on your face. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You dragged me out of a room with a guy trying to cut it. You ain't a trained medical professional.
I know. I just
Breathe.
At this point,
Trained
Leia,
medical profession, you say? She spins around.
I spin her chair so she's facing away from us. Like, shut up.
at this point, Leia, you notice that from you sort of half falling, half crouching down on the floor, trying to get Quinn out, you actually have a little bit of blood on your pants, on your jeans, and your shoes, and Quinn, the same maybe on one of your sleeves as you were sort of thrashing around while you were dragged out.
Yeah.
Because again, the guy who was, with the pocket knife, he was bleeding heavily onto the floor.
I'll kind of I'll sit with Quinn and just kind of lean my head on his shoulder.
Yeah, I think if I would, if I can put dice to it, there is a comfort move. I would like to make sure Leah isn't gonna blame herself for all this if I can, because
yeah, and you actually have your special move has something to do with comfort.
Yes, which is why I'm trying to make it into a big dumb joke, because if I make her laugh, it's even better. Until I make her laugh too much and it actively breaks me to be helpful.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So first of all, what is my heart again?
So what was your your special move was behind the mask?
Yes. So when you help a person by making them laugh and thus boosting their morale, add +1. So this I'm going for a comfort rather than a helping them.
Yeah. So you add your normal plus heart stat and then get to add another one.
Oh, okay. So I'm at +2. How exciting! That's a 10.
Yeah.
What's good?
So on a 10
The
or higher,
power of jokes.
they feel they feel calmed and look for your guidance. So Leia, Quinn's joke, as dumb as it may have been, actually helps you to feel a little bit lighter about everything that just happened.
She gives him a hug and kind of stays there for a minute because it's comforting.
Yeah, I think he probably does. I think he just kind of turns and was like, "So, did y'all see? I mean, yeah, I guess we saw the same person.
Yeah,
trying to cut on himself. What did we see?
I don't know why.
Did you guys see him get taken out? I'm looking towards Mila and Leia. Like, is he okay?
We didn't see him. Did you tell him? And she looks over at Dubs. Did you tell him about Hannah?
I said that, I don't think I said about her specifically, but we know that it's not just the two of us. There's a epidemic, an epileptic epidemic. A lot of eppies that I just don't know how to deal with.
But before you fainted, or before you seized, do you remember?
Yes, something about to get away, to try harder. And then I left this physical world, it felt like.
Yeah, there's something off about her. Every time I've seen her, she's called out to me without actually. I don't know how to describe it, but I do know.
Sorry, Dubs, very quick. You didn't hear Hannah say that.
Okay,
She
I did not
told
hear
him
her
after.
say that.
No, she told him right after, before he fainted.
Okay, gotcha.
But she would have told everyone anyway, and then probably I just saw Alex crying with his parents outside of another room. I think I should go see what's going on.
Yeah, maybe see if hopefully there's not another self-extraction of a heart event.
I'm also going to try to see what room that guy's in. Leia, I might need you to cause a distraction if I text you.
Okay. I think I can do that.
Start yelling about trees or something.
Speaking of cell phones, Quinn, because you had started to look up
Acid Valentines.
Yeah, and then you were distracted, but you had hit the search button, and sort of as you look on your phone and sort of make the screen pop up again. What exactly did you look for?
I mean, I think I just searched for probably typed in Acid Valentines, hit search, actually got an emo band, then added Acid Valentines space Woodlake, and yeah. So I think I don't really have a lot to go on.
That's perfectly fine, because as soon as you see the first entry, you're like, oh right, you do remember, but it's not. It's not usually called Acid Valentine, or the name is not thrown around so much, but it's what you see. It has you find some entries, older entries, sort of archived entries from newspapers, and it very briefly states that in 1975 there was a school party, or a party that was hosted by one of Woodland High's high schoolers at a big house. It was a Valentine's party, and several people by the end of the night had to be brought to the hospital because they had collapsed, and it was immediately assumed that somebody had brought some drugs to the party, which is why eventually it got the name Acid Valentine, because it was really hyped several weeks, who was a culprit and whatnot. But they never found any traces of blood any trace. They had no blood. They had no blood anymore. No, they never found any traces of drugs in anybody's blood samples. At least not in the people who had collapsed, and then not everybody, or not the parents of everybody who didn't collapse, agreed to have their kids' blood taken, blah blah blah. But they never found anything. And so when you're going over, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. It's sort of like town knowledge, but the reason why you don't really remember is that, and it's just mentioned at the end of the article, which sort of looks back at what happened, saying that up until today nobody really knows whatever actually happened, and that the strange events at the parties were only overshadowed, or heavily overshadowed actually, by the gruesome death of 17-year-old Adam Evans, who the day after the party was found dead by the lake. Are you sharing anything?
I probably will, but last time, because the Ouija board people, the Waluigi board people, they pulled something up about Adam and Eve as the name of the ghosts.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so So I think I'm like, y'all, you remember the like that ghost story about all those kids who got like drugged at some house party? I'm pretty sure I was told at least 3 times not to accept a drink I hadn't personally poured myself. When I went to college. Yeah,
So
it
all
seems
of you,
awfully familiar.
so all of you, again, the whole story with the party. It takes a moment for you to come back because the gruesome death of the 17-year-old boy was so much bigger, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
something that was researched and investigated for years and years, and so that actually became the talk of the town. And in
Sure.
fact, I have some questions for you, and then you can tell me what you are remembering. And there is a good chance that what you remember is mostly true, but some of the details might be wrong. But it doesn't matter. I'm just going to give you all sort of Quinn tells you, maybe you can find you for this Adam Evans, you actually find a Wikipedia article. It's very short, but you're just rattling down, sort of mumbling to yourself the most common noun details, and all of you go, oh yeah. So the case is still open, but the cause of death was determined as being mauled by an animal, very likely a mountain lion, and that this Adam Evans, he had left this Valentine's party, which then later, got the name Acid Valentine, or the event. He left that party before midnight with two friends, and they split at some point. And then in the early morning hours of February 15th, the body of Adam Evans was found by a jogger. And yeah, okay. What you also know is, remember, because there was another thing, that was another detail that was blown up and turned into so many multiple stories. Adam, he had a letter on him. And Quinn, I'm going to give the first question to you. According to the media, for the media, this was of course a big thing, because in such a small town such as Woodlake, things like that usually don't happen. And then reporters from all around also came, and this is also still a case that even in the year 2015 still pops up on true crime podcasts every now and then.
Okay.
So Quinn, according to the media, the letter that was on Adam was a love letter. What do you remember? What allegedly was in the letter, and who wrote to whom?
I mean,
so basically the way you remember it, and then everybody else will be, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like that. And then how accurate it actually is, you will find out later. But it's pretty much, because I want you to be part of this. So the
Sure.
majority of what you remember will
I
actually
think
be true.
from whether or not this is how he remembers it, he definitely thinks that the love letter was from a girl called Eve, because he heard those spooky names come up, and now his brain is.
His name is actually Adam Evans.
Yeah, but I think at the Ouija board session there was like an Adam and an Eve, and now his brain is in overdrive.
Okay.
On conspiracy theory nonsense. And yeah, so he's like, I think it was like from some girl called, and like there was some, like they thought he rejected her, and then she killed him.
You're already going far ahead with the question.
Yeah, and like Yeah, I think Quinn is. I was about to refer to myself in the third person.
Okay, so you're saying basically, oh yeah. So don't you remember like he had this love letter on her, and this girl Eve, and he had rejected her, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna jump to the fourth question that I had. What are other rumors about Adam's death? And so Quinn, you already threw in that one rumor that goes around is that this girl, who you remember to be named Eve, actually killed Adam because she rejected her. Dubs, what do you remember? What are other rumors about the death of Adam Evans?
I heard. Dubs remembered hearing from his brother Gordon, who went to school with these kids, that
How old was
Adam.
his brother? This was in 75.
Never mind, I forgot that part.
He's 75.
He is it, yeah. My dad's still. Never mind.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We'll say Adam killed himself. Is what happened. He went out into the woods and then just walked out into the water. And since there were no drugs found within his system, as they say, it had to have been something he willingly chose to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's Leia would be like, "Oh, that's not what I heard. I heard that him and Eve wanted to be together, but her parents wouldn't let it happen, and that it was her. There was some talk about it was her like relative or something, it was someone in her family that took him out because they didn't want them to be together."
All right. Okay, we got some rumors. Mila, what do you bring into this sort of conversation? Everybody just pulling memories from their brains. According to armchair investigators, where was the body of Adam actually found? And the follow-up question to that is, it was found at or I should rephrase it. There's a rumor that Adam's body was not that it was placed right by the lake at the northern shore, but there's a rumor that he did not die there and that he was carried there from somewhere in the forest, which is a forbidden place, like where even you as kids, your parents told you to never go there unless you're with an adult. What is that place?
They think that, sorry, it was dropped by the lake, but they think he died at this other place I'm about to describe.
It's one
Okay.
rumor that armchair investigators, true crime people and whatnot, that they brought forth.
There was like a creepy abandoned house, but it's condemned. No one lives there anymore, and parts of the ceiling and everything are falling in. So you're not allowed to go anywhere on the property because they think that there's like an underground something, because like someone fell through boards that were on the lawn that were like just under grass or something. You know what I mean? Like a weird house with weird like booby trap almost type things.
And the house is filled with asbestos.
Yeah, but like there's like a patch of grass that's just dead in one area all year round. And people say as rumors that he was killed there in like a ritual, and then the body was dumped so that it wouldn't be traced back. She's crazy, so she's just kind of, she doesn't have anything better to do when listening to other crazy people call in.
No, I like it.
So maybe that's what she heard. Maybe that's the rumor she heard. She's like, I swear, like, I was over here in town and like this lady told me that blah blah blah. You guys should have the police go check it out. Like maybe there's a crazy lady that calls in every once in a while, and I just feed the info to you guys because I'm like,
okay,
crazy lady's at it again.
Yeah, that might totally happen. All right, and then the last question I would have for all of you: how is Adam usually depicted by the media? because in the weeks after, there were pictures of him everywhere, and of his tragic death and how terrible it was, and sort of what was he known for, and how was he usually described?
Oh, maybe he could be like a typical football guy.
Come again?
Yeah.
Typical football guy. He was good at football. He played good sports.
That very 70s prep school like oriented character who always was dressed to the nines and had his whole life ahead of him.
Yes. Definitely a phrase they would say a lot.
His whole life ahead of him. Tragically cut short.
Yeah. And Quinn, you can see from just a few entries that popped up, there is more you could potentially research, but then Mila chimes in and says that that maybe she should check in on Mila. What did you say again? You wanted to check in on on Hannah?
She wanted to see what was going on at Hannah's room,
Mm-hmm.
and then she wanted to go. She's pretty much gonna go see the guy that they're told not to go see. Who's in the guy who carved his chest?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you have an idea. Either you saw it yourself, or Leia just described to you in what direction the sheriff and his wife went. So, yeah, but with the other guy, you have no idea. You would have to get a little bit crafty.
Okay.
Sorry, I was distracted there for a second. Are we going to Are we Scoobying?
Mila, at least, she wanted to first go check in on Hannah.
Yeah, maybe just one person checking in on Hannah would be the fastest, and then just can you just run over there and check on her and then come back?
Why don't you go check on her while I go scope out where that guy is?
Okay.
Maybe he's like handcuffed to a table or something, or his chair, or his thing.
Maybe in one of the quiet rooms or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know what's up with Sunflower.
Okay, I'll go check on Hannah.
I'll go check on Wildflower? Sunflowers.
Sunflower.
Okay.
Mike Sunflower.
I'm gonna go check on Roses. She just changes it every time.
Suns and Roses.
Gun.
Oh, I gotta.
Does
Can
Dove
be
say
here all
that?
night. Yeah.
She throws the stethoscope that she stole at him and walks out.
Oh. Nurse. Take a horn. No. I kind of look at Quinn as they leave, and before the scene fades away. Yeah, I know this is not something normal, and I think I know where to go after all this. As we gotta go. We gotta go.
Face
Yeah, we gotta go see Oma.
You gonna see who?
Oma.
Your granny?
Yes. Because I feel like Petra's just dying to roleplay this character.
Oh yeah, that as well. But
and announce the new name of it. Well, not new.
No, I mean, she did give her the nickname Hextra, which she sometimes protests again, but in a half-assed way.
She
so
likes
she doesn't
it.
really mind, yeah. But her actual name, I called her Sybil. Sybil, was it Wesley? Dubs' handle
Yeah,
name?
that'd be. Yeah, I don't know if.
So it's on your
yeah.
dad's side.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay, so Leia, you leave Dubs and Quinn behind for the moment. Leia, you go into the direction, and
was Dubs not headed off with Mila to find?
I think I gotta stay here.
You guys aren't allowed to leave.
No.
Yeah, I'm in my little gown.
Antonio Banderas in the hall told you guys
Yes.
to can't leave.
Puss in Boots said, "Don't go anywhere."
Antonio would step in, since you are officially still under watch.
Aye. Good luck, team.
We'll be right back. And yeah, so
Okay. Yeah.
I'll kind of head out into the waiting room and kind of mill about for a bit. Look like I'm, kind of standing around, and then wait until kind of nobody's looking, head down the hall.
Yeah, it's and as you sort of look around the corner, you're like, oh, okay, that's easy enough. Because at the far end of that hallway, you see Alex sitting outside on a chair, sort of elbows leaning on his knees and his head in his hands.
Okay, I'll just kind of quietly walk over there and just sit next to him.
And he goes, "Oh, hey, hey, Leia," and he's still sniffling a little bit.
I kind of hand him some tissue.
Thank you. I had one on me, but that's already
Oh, don't worry about it. I got lots. Are you okay? What's up?
um I don't what the hell is going on here? Like, are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. And like, um, everybody's like Dubs and Quinn and Mila and everybody. We're all good. We're fine.
Okay, because I saw so Dubs is he okay too? Because I saw him on the ground too, and then I saw Mila just helping him, and I tried to she told me to take off my jacket and put it on Hannah,
Mhm.
and so I think I did that, and I think it helped her, but
Yeah, yeah. He's
so
okay.
so what is with Dubs? He's okay now?
He's okay. He'll be all right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm not worried. But like, what did they tell you?
Um, with Hannah, I mean she stopped, you know, she stopped shaking, and but when they so I rode with her in the ambulance, and I don't know, she freaked or something. She got really she wanted to get out of her, and saying really really weird things, like she had to something about what she was doing wasn't enough, and then that something about her heart, and God, it was horrible. And they had to they the guy who was the medic, he held her down, and she was screaming, and then
Oh my god, that's like scary.
and then they gave her something, and it, it helped her to calm down, and I mean she's sleeping now. I think my parents are in there. um uh, they took blood, and my dad said that's what they're doing with everybody
Oh
um
yeah, of course.
who
They do that to
collapsed, and
everybody. It's okay. Like, we'll
and
figure it out.
my dad also said that I like Chad can be really annoying, but I don't think he would. My
I don't think it was him. I don't think he had anything to do.
Yeah, but there were some of the parents, like there were a couple of kids who also collapsed, and they started apparently to blame Chad, and saying, with his past and everything, saying
No,
that that maybe they got into his stash or something crazy like that, and that,
no,
well, my
that's
dad
not
said
it
that
though.
he will be not brought in, but he has to come to the station and at least give a statement.
Oh, I'm sure, but like, it's not him. It's absolutely not him. Like, I know. I was with him all day, and you know, and like I've been working it like with the guy. That's not him. He didn't do it.
Yeah, no, it isn't, like I said, he's trying way too hard, and everything, but I don't really, and then you see him tearing up again. He said, "Oh
Yeah.
God, I should have watched her better.
Oh, she
She
gives
was
him a
so
big hug.
she was so weird, like for days now, and I just I think her boyfriend might have broken up with her, but she didn't want to talk with me. And then yesterday, she went on a hike, um, and I wanted to go with her, but I don't know, it's so not her. She just completely shut me out. And then his voice breaks, and it takes him a moment to just compose himself. And at that, the door opens to the room.
Yeah, she's like, she's like rubbing his back and
Hmm.
soothing him and stuff.
Yeah, and Sheriff Thorne comes out, still talking to one of the doctors, who's saying, "All right, Sheriff Thorne, we have direct line to you. I promise we'll let you know if we find out more. Rest assured." And then the doctor, she goes, sort of turns back into the room, and very briefly, if you sort of just peek around a little bit, you see um, Sophia Thorne, so Alex's and Hannah's mother, sitting at the bed. And you see very little of Hannah. You just see an arm and then an
In the
IV,
bed, yeah.
and the blood pressure thingy on her finger. And then the door is closed. And then so the sheriff, I would say the sheriff is generally liked, by
Yeah.
most people. Probably disliked by some for being maybe a little bit too progressive, too liberal. I don't know. But he leans down and sort of places a hand on Alex's shoulder, and he looks up and say, "It'll be fine. I know it'll be fine." And then he looks at you, and he said, "Oh God, forgive me. This is a little bit much. What was your name again?
Oh,
we've met several times. I'm so sorry."
yeah, I'm Leia. Um, I did some volunteering and stuff. It's okay.
All right.
I was just checking.
So we will. I know there were a lot of people, and we there's no name list of everybody who came, but we're asking anybody who was at the festival and saw something strange, um, to either talk to me, talk to one of my deputies, or come to the station and make a statement there. Really, anything that can help us out. And yeah, and then he just nods at you, nods at Alex, and starts walking down. And he's approached by one of his deputies. So long, small, short, with the words, short female deputy, mousy brown hair, pulled back in a ponytail,
Hi, Jane.
and sort of she talks quietly, but it carries enough in the hallway that you hear it. So Sheriff Thorne, what about the drug screening? Like, we can't just test everybody. We will need, since there were a lot of minors, we will need the okay of the parents. And then they actually start to walk off. And I would now actually like to cut over to Mila.
Mila Yikesovich. She's looking for flowers in some, like, sitting on a cart or somewhere that she could steal them and act like she's going in because she knows the band member.
Okay, so you're going to one of the information or the reception desks?
Or, like, when they leave carts outside of a room, like when they bring in meals to people, maybe there's flowers sitting somewhere. Maybe she goes in and asks someone if she can have one of their flowers because she forgot to buy them.
Yeah, let me think, because it's only been at this. Okay, to be fair, I would say until you got into the medical center and you had to wait a little bit. I think it has been, but still, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours since everything happened. So I'm not sure if things have transpired fast enough to. Oh, actually, but I know what I know who always comes to places like this, like flies to a pile of poo.
I know what you're gonna say, and I don't like it.
Which is reporters.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
I thought it was gonna be Pablo Escobar over here, trying to swoop in and tell us the business. It's okay to be sad. He's like the weird Mr. Rogers that used to do drugs.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know that, but since Leia just heard that, he has to come in. So you did not see him, or have not yet seen him at the medical center, so you don't even know if he's there.
Okay.
But there are, I would say, as you're sort of, making your rounds, sort of looking at the flowers, sort of thinking, how the heck am I going to find out what's going on? You notice two other people who are also trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, but who are doing not such a good job at it. It's a woman and a man, and the man is bold, and you see him shoving a camera as hanging from his neck, shoving a camera under his jacket, sort of they're mumbling with each other. And so as you're sort of walking around, you hear them say, "Man, have you heard anything?" And so the woman asked that, and then the man said, yeah, so apparently he's out of surgery now. It wasn't too bad. But I didn't see. I think he's one floor up. And then the two start walking ahead.
She's gonna follow them.
Yeah, you do that, and so they take the stairs, and the woman goes to the next reception desk, and actually before they do that, the two of them keep whispering to each other. And so as the woman walks to the reception desk, the bald guy sort of slinks back into a side corridor out of view. And so at this point, she just leans on the reception desk and is like, sort of actually shows her press badge. And so yeah, I'm Louisa Alcott. I'm from the Woodlake. What is the name of a Woodlake's newspaper? Someone throw a name at me.
The Daily Tidings.
Yes.
No, whatever he was gonna say, that was probably better.
I was gonna say the Woodlake
Gazette.
The Daily Tidings. Hell no.
Yeah, let's go with that. The Woodlake Daily
Woodlake. Can we call it Woodlake stuff?
Woodlake.
That is what you call it.
The
official
Woodlake
name.
with woo. It's like review.
And that is what you call it. But the official name is Woodlake's Daily Tidings. So she's fairly loudly saying, and actually making a little bit of a ruckus. And you do get the feeling that the two of them are pulling off what you were suggesting to Leia that
was my plan.
That the woman is trying to be as obnoxious, and that is what she is. She's like, okay, the public has the right to know what is going on.
She's gonna follow the
All
other
right,
guy.
we already.
She doesn't care about any of this. She's like, this. No one listens to my plans. They're adults and they thought it was a good plan. She's like mumbling as she tries to follow this guy.
Yeah, so he's just waiting, waiting to see if she can stir up enough or get enough attention on her, but it's not working. But I would say roll me a take stock.
All right. I have to remember what that is.
I don't think. No, we've rolled it already last time, so I'm not going to read it again.
What's the roll though?
Plus senses, unless your basic moves gives you anything.
I rolled it twice. Sorry.
Oh, it's the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, 11. Good. Yes, good. And so I assume you would like to know what do you see, or do you have another question. So you can ask me. So on a never mind. Forgot my own rules again. On a 10 plus, ask 3. Basically all 3. You have what do I see, what do I hear, what do I smell.
I guess.
Yeah.
She just wants to know what she sees once she's following.
Yeah. So what you see is that the plan of these 2 reporters completely backfires, because as she is trying to get in all the attention from the nurses there, he is going from room to room, sort of looking at the little plates that are outside. But one of the other nurses, she sees him and she is like, okay, I'm done with this. And as all of this happens, you look around, and you see another nurse, sort of, there's a little, you're in a square room, and then you have a reception desk, and there's rooms around and hallways around, and sort of behind all of what is going on, you see another nurse who is carrying a tray, or let's say she's actually pushing one of those little carts, and there's a lot of medical equipment on there, but you also see a sunflower on the cart.
She's gonna follow that. She's gonna
Yeah,
click.
and as you do, she doesn't walk too far. She enters a room, and yeah, she pushes her cart into there, and you can see it's actually one of those rooms where you can see into from the outside. Like there's a glass front on one side, or a big window where you can see inside, and it's sort of this whole wing is marked off as intensive care. It's definitely quieter here.
She'll wait till the woman leaves the room and then go in.
Okay. I will come back to you in a second. What are Dubs and Quinn doing? Or talking about?
I think Quinn is probably like, I don't know, he's been floating like increasingly wild theories about there's a serial killer who doses people at big engagements around here on a 40-year cycle, and has been like going off on tangents, and has probably just fallen like, has kind of been talking at Dubs, and it's probably just kind of run out of steam, and I think we might now be sitting in the awkward silence after that.
Look, I'm like, it really does take a while for doctors to get here, doesn't it?
There's a lot of us, I guess.
Yeah, well, a lot of people having seizures at one time, kind of.
It's
And
Woodlake ER isn't really meant to handle this quantity of things.
True. I mean, it's one of the only places that takes my insurance, though, so I'm kind of stuck having to come here whenever I can. But they need some competition, or just more staff. How about that? I know how much you make.
And Dubs, as you have been listening to Quinn just going off and off, spinning the tale, and it gets wilder and wilder, and from serial killer to I don't know what else you're throwing in there.
Demons.
Demons?
Demons.
What?
Dubs, you begin to notice that your back begins to burn.
Oh.
It's not your whole back. It's specifically, it's sort of over your right shoulder blade. It's just very mild at first, but by the time that Quinn's tirade is teetering off, it becomes quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, like, Quinn, can I get that ice pack from you real quick? I got, and I guess when I fell, maybe like a bruise just started to flare up or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little warm at this point, but sure, and I toss it to him.
Anything's better than nothing, and I kind of like adjust it to slip it behind me and
You
Hold
Yeah,
it
or
down.
hand there?
if you do
Yeah.
this, you could definitely reach it. Like it's over your middle of your sort of middle of your back, but sort of on your shoulder
I
blade.
don't know, must have fallen on something or rolled around and. Well, then again, no. I don't know if I fell out of the car or not. Ah, it kind of burns though.
Do you want me to have a look?
I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know what it could have been. So maybe something fell back in my shirt. I got stung, and I kind of lift
Yeah,
up. Are we wearing like the gowns, or are we wearing our regular clothes?
I was just thinking about that.
I can't like.
Well, if
it
he has
doesn't
his
s-
phone, then
It doesn't sound like our condition was serious enough. They need to go
Yeah.
full like.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, they checked your vitals, especially
Hmm.
your reflexes and especially do your pupils react normally um and they told you that once you said that neither of you had any seizures in the past, they put you on the back seat or on the back burner so far. There were you heard apparently that there was someone in the crowd who collapsed who already had a history of epilepsy, and they were sent put on an what do you use in this MRI, I guess, or CT. Anyway, um, whatever it's called. It's not. I know it's not an EKG.
No,
An
it's a CT
MRI
scan.
is a
Yeah.
CT scan, right?
Yeah.
MRI is that really noisy, loud thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
so you are still wearing your normal clothes, and so Quinn, as Dubs pulls up his shirt, you see on his right shoulder what looks pretty much like a scratch mark. It's three, as if like something with three claws just scratched along his back. Not very deep, but deep enough to leave those those red marks where the skin puffs up at first a little bit.
Hmm.
It's red. It's slightly swollen. It's not super long. It's
Yeah.
like this,
So
like half a foot.
Quinn kind of goes like, "Okay, just gonna do my due diligence, but you haven't recently made special friends with someone with immaculate nail care routines, have you?"
no. Mila's fingernail polish is always scratching off, and Leah digs in so much dirt that I think she uses polish. It could just be dirt. I mean,
You're
I don't.
adorable.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like you've been scratched. Like,
What?
not like it's not a graze, like, and
And
I don't-
and
you-
Dubs, I
yeah.
would say that you can find a mirror somewhere that maybe one of the cabinets has, or maybe on the wall there's
if nothing else,
a
I'll just
mirror
like
so you can
take a photo and then just like
or
put it
that.
around in front of him.
That's
Yeah.
probably easier.
Yeah, like yeah. Take a photo of it. Let me see what.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me see. So I'm not like lifted up a big hole, like
Yeah.
shirt in the back, and doctor comes in. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll take a photo of this and be like, so this looks specific. Like you couldn't get this rolling around on the floor just by accident.
No, no. I've been scraped by all kinds of plants and such. That's no. What does the shirt? Does the shirt have a scratch on it? Like,
No,
does it look like a?
no, the shirt is perfectly fine. I mean, you did fall. Well, if you were wearing a jacket, so the shirt should be. Well, then again, you said your shirts always looked a little bit dirty,
Yeah, they're
right?
always dirty. Yeah, they're always.
Yeah, but it's not torn or anything. There's nothing. The shirt is fine.
I'd say and he said it still kind of burns. It's like, that's the weird part.
Yeah.
It's just I can still feel
A
it.
little
Like
bit.
it hasn't gone away, so to say. I mean, that's new. That's not the weirdest thing to happen today, but let's go ahead and put that on the list.
Mystery wounds rank. Um. Yeah, like I don't know what to do off the back of that, to be honest.
And you don't have to, because the door swings open once
Yeah.
more, and the doctor that you saw about at this point an hour ago, or maybe an hour and a half, comes back and says, "All right, so Mr. Forrester and Mr. Wesley, right?
All right, that's us.
Present.
So your blood samples, urine samples came back normal. I mean, I will send it to your GP. There are a couple of things that are not ideal, but nothing to worry about. Mr. Wesley,
Mhm.
you should perhaps watch us for your cholesterol. It's a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
That's so
well,
cholesterol is this is a cholesterol thing? The seizures? The
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So as of right now, we have no idea what happened.
Hmm.
Um, but
Cool.
since there are some people who need who are in need of more intensive care, um, we would say we're asking you to stay for another hour.
Mhm.
And how have you been feeling so fine so far?
Suddenly I've got this weird burning sensation. Not deep within my heart like old rock songs would say, but on my back.
He
Like
completely ignores that first comment of you. It's just very matter of factly. A scratch. Where? And he points
right
out.
here. It burns kind of, and it just popped up. I did not feel it until just now. I don't know
And
what
so
it could be.
so if you pull up your T-shirt once more, he
Mhm.
looks at it. Not to worry. So it's very likely that you know what happened to you earlier with the seizure. Um, understandably, you were a little bit under shock. So I would say it must have happened maybe when you fell, or maybe earlier, and you only just notice it. But it's not nothing to worry about. It's just put some. I can.
That
I'll give
doesn't
you.
look like a falling down scar.
Yeah, this is like a Wolverine tried climbing up my back looking scar.
Oh,
Not that you would not a real. I realize he probably doesn't know who Wolverine is and thinks I'm talking about an actual Wolverine. And I mean, shit.
he.
I mean,
No, no. I would say he gets that reference, and because he says, if Wolverine would have gotten to you, there would be more than just a few scratches. You know,
oh.
he's not. You wouldn't have treated you like a little kitty.
But
But honestly, Mr. Wesley, these are just superficial scratches. I can understand that it seems weird to you that they show up all of a sudden, but I assure you, this is nothing to worry about. And what we should be worried about is the fact that both of you experienced a seizure where you had no history of seizures before, and which you're still trying to find out what is actually going on. So please stay for another hour, and then you're good to go. But of course, obviously, we ask
Can
you
we
to check back in
leave
if
this room?
yeah, are we allowed to
Maybe,
do that?
yes.
perhaps.
Okay.
Yes,
Fantastic.
you can leave the room, but do not leave the medical center yet. And then in an hour, and he says, yeah. And so at this point, let me think. The concert was about to start at 5, 7. So he says, yeah. So around 8:15, you can go. You can check out over here at the desk. But again, if
Okay.
anything is out of the ordinary, if you start feeling dizzy again, trouble with your sight, I will actually the nurses will give you a checklist for the things to watch out for. But until then, you can move around freely. And
Okay.
he leaves, and we cut back to Mila.
So she's just waiting for this woman to leave the room so she can kind of go be nosy.
Yeah, and I would say this is probably not how things should work in an intensive care unit, but for some reason, um, nobody stops you from going in there. So first of all, again, since you can see into it, you immediately see that yes, this is indeed Mike Sunflower, the lead singer of the band, who is sleeping or unconscious. You don't know, but he's lying there with his eyes closed. And the nurse, you know, you waited, and she just walked back.
Is his chart anywhere, or a doctor probably has it somewhere?
Yeah, they don't,
Okay.
they don't leave that. Although what they already prepared is one of those stupid charts where it has those how much pain do you feel? You know, with those stupid smileys on
Yeah.
the 1 to 10 scale, and then underneath it says what is our goal for today, and then which hasn't been filled out because he's not conscious yet. But the nurse who's currently running or on shift, the name is there, and then the treating doctor, and then But yeah, otherwise there's no medical.
Okay.
There's no medical documentation that's lying around.
Yeah, I think she'll head in to talk to him, see if he's conscious. Like if he wakes up, if she speaks to him, or if he's just sleeping.
How persistent are you about this?
I mean, she's not gonna shake the guy. He just had surgery. I feel like she walks in and stands kind of like a few feet, like towards the wall at the foot of his bed, as far away as she can, so she doesn't scare him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, "Excuse me, sunflower."
By the way, the sunflower was put into a vase, sort of on the side. And after a moment, he does open his eyes very slowly. He just stares up onto the wall. And so, by the way, you can see he has 2 IVs. One is just the usual.
Saline.
Thank you. Fluid, and then the others seem to have some. I don't know if you can identify it, with some pain medication, and then all the usual thing. And he also has, as best as is possible, some EKG stickies on his chest. But you do see that because he's bare chested, you see that most of his chest is heavily wrapped in a bandage, and so he also he's not on oxygen support. That's fine. John doesn't need that, but he's just staring. So he has his eyes open, but he's just staring at the ceiling.
I was at the concert. I saw you get wheeled out. I just wanted to check in on you.
Are you still standing at the end of the bed?
Yeah, she's not getting any closer just yet.
So he is confused. He's sort of very slowly moving his head, looking up to you, and
she'll move to the side of the bed, but still just as far away, just so he doesn't have to turn too much.
Mm-hmm. You can see that it takes him a bit to process, and then he says, "What happened?"
Quite a few people dropped at different locations around the event, and were seizing. One of my friends saw you do that to yourself, and she points at his chest.
And he's like, "Do what?" And then he follows your finger pointing and sort of looks down, and then sort of puts a hand on it.
I wouldn't do that while he's...
I mean, he doesn't notice it because he's still pumped up with pain medication. And he's like, "What do you mean I did that? I don't remember. I was about the concert. Like, where?" And he starts looking around.
You're in the hospital. It was canceled because of all the crazy shit stuff, going on. You don't remember anything?
He closes his eyes for a moment. I remember, so we were supposed... Right, I had to take a leak, and then the others complained that because I never go like way in advance when they tell me I should go, and so I just had to go really quickly, and then it's like some of the things seem to come back to him. He goes, "Oh my God. Oh God." And you see there's a monitor on the side, and you see that his pulse is not all of a sudden racing, but it's quickening.
She sees that and knows that someone's going to come in soon. Do you remember anything? Did you hear anything or see anything before you were doing that? Was someone telling you to? I heard something.
I think, said something to me? What, like what? Like, I was talking to my band colleagues, and then and he stops again, and he says, yeah, Rick, he, said some really weird shit to me, like what I was doing wasn't good enough, and that I wasn't putting my heart and soul into it or something. And at this moment, the door swings open, and you hear Sheriff Thorne's voice, and he comes in, and sort of he's in mid-sentence. Yeah, all right, Alina, we will do that, and so I will see now if I can talk. Mila,
Yes.
fancy seeing you here.
Hi. I was at the concert and I saw him hurt, so I just wanted to check on him. He's awake. He's doing well. He's pulling through, right? And she looks over at him, like back to the.
And sort of he raises an eyebrow and sort of looks like not super pissed off, but he's like, you know what it means. You're a 911 operator, and you know a little bit. You know the things that are generally going around here, and that when it says intensive care unit, that civilians are not supposed to be here.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm sure you just forgot, right?
I did just forget.
Mm-hmm.
And it will never happen again. I will see you at work tomorrow.
Sounds good.
She does like that side crab walk thing to try to get past and get out while looking down.
A second later, the door opens and you see, you hear Mila. And sort of the sheriff peeks out. He says, what about you? Are you okay?
I'm okay. My friends were a little shaken up, so I was just gonna go check on them.
Alex told me that you instructed him on how to help Hannah, and I wanted to thank you for that. I heard that you kept your shit together, so thank you.
She's not doing great mentally, so she's like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't? Yeah, the training's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he narrows his eyes a little bit, but I mean, he knows what you have seen and what's going on, and since you were here, he assumes that you also know what was happening with this guy and that this was a lot. So he just said, you know what, why don't you just grab your friends? I think the boys they will be able to get out of here soon, and just as much as you can, just relax for the rest of the night, and then we'll try to find out what happened. And
okay, I will ask them if they remember anything, and if they do, I will call you personally, and we're gonna go get tea and relax. So that's where we'll be, just getting tea and coffee.
Sounds good. And he goes back inside.
She runs way too quickly down the stairs.
So you're going back to that room?
Yeah. She does that thing where you see her like skid past the door. She's trying to stop running.
Yeah. So right, you were one floor up, and so you go downstairs. As you're doing so, as you are getting to the floor underneath, you briefly almost bump into the two reporters who are now arguing with each other for just doing such a shitty job of finding out where the Sunflower guy was. And as you enter the room, I would say that Leia would probably have arrived.
Can I say something to the reporters?
Yeah, sure.
The guy you're looking for, he's upstairs, but you can't get in to see him. He's awake now, though. Also, that whole cause of distraction thing, I thought of that first. And I actually went to go see him, so maybe I should be a reporter or something if that's what you're supposed to. Also, maybe look into all the people that are hearing voices when they started seizing, and then she runs away.
Yeah, and the woman's like, "Hey, what? Hearing voices? What? Hey!" And then she's like, "Shit, what am I gonna?" And then the guy nudges her. No, let's get let's get upstairs. We can take care of the kids later. And also, you don't know if what they're saying is making any sense. You know, they're all taking drugs anyway. And so they
Kids these days.
and
Goddamn Puritan hospital.
they hurry upstairs.
Suckers.
And so, yeah, Mila, I would say that when you get back, Leia is probably also back at this point, and they all look at you as you hurriedly enter the room and looking a little bit spooked.
So he's here.
Chest intact.
It's there. It doesn't
Well,
look
that's
great.
a good start.
It doesn't look great though.
Good. Oh, I'm glad.
Leia, what's happening?
What do you mean?
I thought we were like team conquer and divide and conquer.
Oh, like I went and checked and everything, and then the sheriff came out. So I had to go. But I talked to Alex, and she tells you everything he said. So they like don't really know what's going on with Hannah, but I think she's like unconscious, but okay.
Ginger, were you here when Leia heard from Alex how Hannah was doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you? Okay.
The guy is still pretty banged up. He doesn't remember anything, but and she looks over at Quinn. Quinn, one of the members of the band was like Rich or Rick or.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The same thing happened to him that happened to me, where Hannah said something to me, but she didn't actually say something to me, and I thought I don't know. It's confusing, but Guns N' Roses told me that his bandmate said something to him about not being good enough. About not being good enough to be in the band or something.
Some riff on you need to put your whole heart into it then?
Something about a soul.
Yeah, your heart and soul. Put your soul.
That's becoming a only lightly terrifying theme.
That also came up.
Ah.
Also, I saw these two reporters, and I might include them into what was going on because, honestly, it seems like they might be able to get information and help us since I gave them information. I don't know.
Okay,
well, they're better at it. They have more experience doing.
They're not better at it. I had the plan. You know what? It's not important.
They've got resources, if nothing else.
Mila, when I fell, did I like hit my back at all by any means? Because I got this big old patch of scratches that just showed up and started burning out of nowhere. And
can I see them?
Yeah, and I like.
Because I checked to make sure your head and everything were okay.
Well, what about that?
Is there blood? Like, is it that deep of a scratch that there's blood?
I remember she said that it was like kind of puffed up a bit.
Sorry, there was no blood. It just looked like, you know, like cat scratches where it doesn't go deep enough to draw blood.
It leaves like the imprint.
Up. Yeah, it's just puffed up a little bit. You know,
like an allergy sort of thing, even if
yeah, maybe just a tiny bit of loose skin or something, but nothing deeper than that.
She'll take a look at it and say, this doesn't look like you fell, like road rash from falling on the pavement. This looks like a scratch.
Yeah.
How many are there? Does it look like a hand?
She had 3 of them.
3.
Yeah, and they're pretty. If you look at it, they're pretty running parallel to each other. They don't all have the exact same length, but
She's like, she goes like this and tries to measure, you know, how it would look if she did it with 3 fingers and is trying to figure something. Like, she's just messing with it, kind of.
I mean, yeah, you could, like, any of you could, because they're in such a distance to each other that all of you could, you know, place your 3 of your fingers into the position to then make that pattern. there's yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what this could be. And neither does this doctor. Oh, he says he kind of downplays it, but I'm freaking out, just so to say. Maybe we should go see Oma.
I would like to be somewhere not in the immediate vicinity of a bunch of people who keep having spooky hallucinations and stuff.
What about us?
Let's all go to the tea shop.
I kind of told the sheriff we were all going there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good foresight.
Well, let's...
I mean, I get that maybe you don't want to be in public right now, but...
You know what settles my nerves is a dose of caffeine.
Me too. Let's go get some... Are we getting caffeine? Is there coffee?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
She perks up.
It's something.
She didn't know how they were going to feel about going there. She's something.
She's kin. That's all I can claim.
And that's the last we hear. Then we make a hard cut to the Mila. What's the name of the cafe run by Dap's grandmother?
I want you to say it. How do you say it in German?
Oh God, this is. I don't even.
There's not a word for it.
Verzauberte Zaubertränke, not really. It's
you can
terrible
say anything
because
right now. We don't know.
yes,
Yeah,
I know
I'll
because
go,
the thing is certain fantasy-ish words I only know in English at this point, and then I would have to. Anyway, so the camera shows a really nice Victorian style, white, cute little house with a porch. And then on top we have a wooden sign that says Enchanted Bruce. It has some swirlies, sort of almost like clouds on both sides. And it's
Stars.
still open.
For sure. Lots of stars.
Yes. It's still open. And there's not a lot going on. And so this cafe, so we talked about how around 5 years ago, the first big brand coffee store chain opened its first store in Woodlake. And since then, Grandma Wesley, or Hextra, as you like to call her, had a bit of a hard time holding on to her customers. So this is it's an interesting mix because according to Dap's grandma is a witch, but she is into Wicca a little bit, and also a lot of into herbalism, and there's a lot of crystals. And for as long as you've known her, she's used tarot cards every now and then if she feels like she's stuck. And you never bought into any of it, even though she's like, no, when people tell you that tarot cards can predict the future, don't believe them. That's bollocks. It's a psychological tool and whatnot. But she did have to concede a little bit in order to not lose all of her younger customers, which is when really interesting names popped up for the different drinks that she had. And Ginger, what was it? What you had last time? A sacrifice latte. You had this like a name.
Yeah, it was like a.
With jack-o'-lantern spice, not pumpkin spice, she goes all the way.
A double baddie brew, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. So it was like she teamed up with someone who's like, oh yeah, I can coach you in terms of marketing strategies, but who did a piss poor job. So yeah, all the drinks have weird names, and there's a lot of stuff now with pumpkin spice and whatnot. But I mean, it seemed to have worked because the business is still there. And although it looks like the older generations actually appreciate that it's not as noisy there anymore, because they have started to fill in and more and more again. So yeah, you come in and you hear the doorbell, And so Grandma Sybil, she's around 70, so she could have retired already a while ago, but she doesn't want to because she sees what she's doing here. It's not just running a cafe. She sees it as a community service where people can come to relax and maybe get some good advice and just rest their weary souls, and perhaps have the cards read or just yeah, other good things. And at first you don't see her, you only hear her. I'm right with you. Just one moment.
Oma, it's me. And the crew. Your favorites. We're back.
And then you hear a
Hey!
step, and you see her through a curtain, a beaded curtain. It's the beaded curtain. She looks, yes, she looks through it, all the beads sort of clicking and clacking. Warwick, and hey, you guys, what are you doing here? I thought you were at the 1 second. I'll be right with you. Just as always, just sit wherever you want. And she has a can of coffee in her hand, and then leaves for a moment, probably to serve some customer.
I just go.
Oh, what are you doing?
I go and flop down on a comfortable chair and on the couch and just kind of sink into it for a minute.
I grab a very large slice of cake and like throw some money down and just kind of like, always a pleasure.
If it were anybody other than you, Quinn, you probably would have gotten an ass kick for that.
Yeah.
Turn into a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll steal like a few bites off of Quinn's cake.
Yeah. So soon after you sit down, she comes around and says, so what's going on? And Grandma Dubs, Hexra,
G-dubs.
G-dubs.
G-dubs. She's quite a tall woman, of well built and despite her age, still walking tall, and all her hair is gray and whatnot. And she just despite the way that the store looks the way it does and gives off a certain vibe, she does not run around in hippie clothes or in flowy skirts or anything like that. Yeah, she always goes for very very practical clothes. She's just wearing jeans. She does wear t-shirts that were also branded with the name of her cafe, and then she's just wearing a sweater on top of it. So what can I get you all? Coffee? It's a little bit late though.
I'll
coffee?
get a brouhaha with a double toil and trouble shot thrown into it. Put it all on my tab. You know I'm good for it.
And then she actually looks at each and one of you and did something happen? You don't look quite so. You look rather spooked.
That's a word for it.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, it was a bit really weird today.
All right. So, you know what? I'm just going to tell me what you want, and it's fine. We're going to put it all on Warwick's tab here. And she grins. She grins a little bit because it's a game between you and her. Because she knows that you don't like it when she uses full name.
The full name. Ooh.
I'll take a broomstick with 2 jack-o'-lantern shots in it, and also can you put some of those sprinkles, the what do you call it?
The little ones that look like the bats?
The Eye of Newt. Yeah.
Eye of Newt. Yeah. Okay. But so just so you know, we got the little bat sprinkles back in as well.
Oh no, those. You're right.
All right. Wonderful. And so yeah, she takes all of your orders and then she goes. But you see, before she actually goes to prepare those, she does grab. She starts the water kettle, and in a big, like a pitcher, she puts different fresh herbs. Because instead of normal decoration, like pretty much all of the plants that are in the cafe are actually herbs that can be used for making tea. And so she just cuts some fresh things, puts it into the pitcher, and then goes and prepares your order. It's going to take you a few minutes. What are you doing during that time?
Think there's a bit of like a kind of recap of everything we've
Mhm.
seen of just like
Yeah, I'm scribbling it down on some paper. I grab like some stationery. Okay, what knowledge bomb are we dropping?
Mila will take your paper that you're like about to write on and turns it sideways and draws a line and goes, let's draw a timeline. Starting from the first weird thing that happened.
I noticed that little kid acting kind of strange, but that was at the event. Did anything happen with you guys before the youth event opened up?
But that was
yeah, because like when I was getting ready, I heard that person talk to me. Weird.
Okay, sounds. So you guys saw the first strange stuff.
What did they say? We should put it in.
That line about not trying.
Putting your whole soul into things.
Yeah.
Okay.
First weird thing I encountered was Sunflower attempt to do amateur chest surgery.
I put a little star next to that. Like, this is probably the event of the events that is the biggest. And you said he was also talking about putting your whole heart, whole soul. These are two separate events where she heard that and then you heard that.
Yeah, putting his whole heart into it was the only thing I really remember as he did that. It was generally kind of strange. I think then we all collapsed at intervals.
Yeah. Collective seizurings.
Yeah, but test came back. Nothing weird in our blood. Like we hadn't been dosed. At least me and Dubs hadn't.
And too many different. It's too spread out over different locations to really find the connection, so to say. And there's that little boy that I found. He was being awkward near the bathroom. The bathroom where you found Flower Kraut, whatever his name was. He
I mean,
what about the thing with Hannah? Hannah was being weird, and then Alex told me that she was being weird, and then we all went to the event, and then after we broke off, and you and I went for you to drink some of my coffee, and that's when I saw Hannah in the rear view saying that weird thing, and then I felt dizzy.
Alex said when I talked to him that Hannah had been kind of weird for the last couple of days, and he was thinking that maybe, like, she was going through a breakup or something, that she, something personal that she didn't really want to talk about yet. That was just what he thought at first, but now obviously he's like thinking something seriously wrong with her.
This thing's been going for a little while. You ain't anything similar from our musician friend that he'd been hallucinating for a couple days. I think you said, right?
Yeah, he wasn't hallucinating for. I think it was just when the guy talked to him, kind of like Hannah did to me, and like we thought we heard someone say something and they didn't, but.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the impression that you got, that it was just right before he went to go to the restroom that his band member Rick said, this to him, and then it was that.
He didn't remember anything else, though. He just looked panicked, and then the sheriff came in, so I couldn't talk to him anymore, and I'm probably in trouble, but that's fine.
I mean, some of those nurses were saying this seemed like that thing 40 years ago where an entire party gets called off for a bunch of people collapsing, and then someone turned up dead.
Right, and did they find drugs? They didn't find drugs on those people, did they?
Same sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone collapses, but no one's. There was a bunch of theories, but I don't think anything like ever actually got announced as the official cause.
Are you talking about the thing where Dub's grandma told me And then she realizes she slipped and said that it was her who called the station. But it wasn't actually, like, she made that part up. She just was in here talking, sipping coffee, and his grandma told her that it was probably a sacrifice out in the woods by that house.
Dubs is going to think, though, that she is referring to these drugs that Grandma is obviously selling to Mila. And she almost blew her own cover, and he's going to eyeball her that way.
You have so many elephants in the room. It's unbelievable how you just keep dancing around it.
We gotta find the peanut.
So, how do we find out what actually happened back then before this happens again?
We talked to somebody who's been here back in the 70s. Speaking of the 70s, here comes.
Yes, just as you're saying that, your grandma comes back with a big tray, all of your drinks, and another plate on which she put some more, just in good grandma fashion to comfort you, more cake, some cookies, even some pieces of cheese. I wasn't sure what if you were in for something sweet or maybe something. I just put it's really good cheese though. And so you have that.
I grabbed one of the biggest cookies and I just the whole thing.
Yeah, I think
scarf it.
Quinn very absent-mindedly takes a piece of cheese, puts it on oh wait, now cookies mean something different for you guys, but starts mixing ingredients in a way that's doesn't make it, and then just puts it entirely in his mouth in a way that's horrifying to watch.
It's a biscuit, I think.
Okay.
Chips Ahoy is a cookie for us. Like chocolate chip stuff.
Yeah, it's like a chocolate chip.
I've watched a lot of Great British Baking Show. I almost had it figured out.
Okay.
It's biscuit day. I'm like, where's the
although biscuits aren't they usually like the crunchy type of?
It's like a dinner roll.
No,
I think a biscuit is like a scone.
Yeah, for
I think is the equivalency.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is we have something similar in German where a biscuit is this really spongy, fluffy layer that you have in some cakes, like sponge cake, basically.
Oh.
So it's very confusing. But anything, it's good. It's wholesome, has lots of sugar, but also some oats in there. And then Quinn, as you bite in there, at some point, you get a hint of lavender.
So that's a normal flavor to find in there. Lavender and cheese.
And sorry, I think Quinn, you were going to say something. You ate basically.
I think as he he shoves half of this into his mouth and then I'm trying to think what are the many names of Grandma Dubs?
Oh jeez. Hextra, Grandma
G-dubs.
Oma, G-dubs.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one Quinn would use. I think he'd go for
Grandma Dubs.
Brouhaha.
I think he probably goes for Hextra because that's fun for him. He's like, hey, Hextra, you never hear anything about this acid Valentine's thing a few years back? Well, 40 years back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's Woodlake doesn't have an overly exciting history, but it does have its acid Valentine. And why would you? So what did happen to you?
Show her the timeline. Show her the timeline.
Okay. Here's the timeline. So it begins. We're going to the opening of the youth center because I have to work it, and everybody else is just there for their own.
She grabs a chair and actually sits down next to you. If you want, for the brevity, or for the sake of brevity, you can say it. You just.
And this happened. Heart cutout happened, and now, then we realize a bunch of teenagers partied in the 70s. Maybe you were one of them. And so we come to you to see if you know anything about the creepy shack. Oh, Adam, remember that guy? And I got this scratch on my back. Got my back scratch, and then we all had seizures, which I don't recall our family having any seizures in our history. And info dumped.
Yeah, she just is quietly listens, although every now and then, when she hears of you, Dubs, convulsing, and then Quinn also recognizes, but you, why are you out of the hospital? And she just throws in some of the comments, and then when she hears that Leia also gets several bumps, and so, oh my god, Leia, dude, that must be so terrifying, or must have been so terrifying. I'm so sorry that you had to see that. And then when you're done with it, he brought a mug full of coffee for herself and sort of drinks it quietly. Well, now I understand why you would bring up the Acid Valentine's story. I might have to sneeze. No, it's gone.
It's okay, Grandma. It's okay.
Let it all out, Grandma.
You can sneeze, Grandma. There's a lot of pumpkin spice that just in the air. And you burn a lot of incense.
You know what they used to say. You know what they used to say when you sneeze, that it means that somebody's talking about you and not necessarily in a good way. But now I understand why you would bring up Acid Valentine. I mean, yes, of course. And then the story with this young boy, Adam. Oh, what was his name?
Adam Evans, I think.
Adam Evans. I mean, this was, as you can imagine, nothing ever happens in Woodlake. And then in that year, it was 70, 73, 70, around that time. I mean, it was just like a bomb that just fell on Woodlake, and everybody was shocked and scared, and parents wouldn't let their kids out. And in fact, hold on, I have to quickly do the math. I did the math earlier to Grandma, I think she was around 30, if I remembered correctly.
Was she hanging out with the young cool kids?
Yeah, was she that kind of grandma?
Yeah,
she wasn't a grandma yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I would say, Dubs, from what you heard, she was definitely the kind of person back then who went on all sorts of protests, pro women's rights and pro feminism and pro everything.
She sang a lot of Bob Dylan.
G-Dubs was at Woodstock.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably that as well. And in that regard, she absolutely loves what Leia is doing, and always encourages her to, I know that it's hard and then a lot of people think you're crazy, but you just keep doing you. It's, that it's for a good cause. And
I learned a lot about how to protest from Grandma, for sure.
And then she says, yeah, and your dad, Dubs, he was just a toddler back then, but we were all really, really scared because the coroner, he ruled it like a terrible, tragic accident. And we do sometimes have mountain lions here. Granted, normally they don't run that close to to our town, but
they don't sneak up on you and scratch you while you're sitting in the doctor's office either, I don't think. As I remind her, do you know what this means?
And she says, can you, so the scratch, can I, or no, I mean, and she looks around and there are other customers. I don't want to embarrass you. You can, keep your shirt.
Quinn pulls up the photo on his phone and kind of like waves it at Dubs to kind of get I can just show her this one.
That'll work too.
Yeah, and I hand her my phone.
She wasn't there for that, right? Mila's like, why do you have a picture of him? You know what? Never mind.
Don't shh. How about you? We not like you don't have any secrets.
Like, I like lean over to, like in Dubs' direction, looking at Mila. Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah.
And yeah, she looks at the photo and that is curious indeed. Indeed. That is strange. But so so do you think that is what is happening again? I mean, I can see the parallels for sure, but I mean, nobody, oh my god, has. And then she so it clicks and she's like, wait, nobody has died, right?
That's
No,
That's why
but I
we
just
came
had a
here.
thought. Just had a thought. Mila, you work for the people who count all the crimes going in and out.
You mean the
That's a
police?
That yeah, them and all. The emergency line people, more specifically. Could you work out if anyone's been reported missing or hasn't turned up at the hospital despite having been at the youth center event and that kind of thing?
She pulls out her phone on it, and takes a sip of her drink.
Maybe we can find if this is the same thing and there is going to be another Alex Evans, maybe we can jump the gun on trying to find them.
And then, as you say, actually, everybody roll me plus mind. Oh, let me see what you.
I rolled a 9.
Pretty sure I'm thick as 2 short planks. Yep, that's -1.
10.
Girl.
Oh dang!
Queen of the 10.
So as you know, after you told Grandma Dubs everything that has happened, and you know, you're trying to piece it together with Adam Evans and everything back then, and you know, and then you ask me like, hey, can't you find out? And then you stop and you're like, you do remember that Adam Evans wasn't the only person who went to that party and died soon thereafter. And Dubs, you pretty much like you look at each other, and you have the same thought. And what you do, you're not sure, you don't remember any details. So you're like, wait, didn't and one of his friends also, the friends of Adam Evans, also turn up dead? And then Grandma Dubs says, yes, it unfortunately it didn't end there. So, you know, as you said earlier, this poor kid, he left the party with 2 of his friends. And there was a girl and a boy. I don't remember their names, but the girl, she died under tragic circumstances about 3 months later, and she let me think. Carpenter, yes, that is, I think that was her family name. And everybody quickly help me. What is the Carpenter family is a very big name in Woodlake. What is that family known for? What kind of business are they running? Or
They're carpenters.
I
They do.
mean,
They buy the wood from the lumber mill that Dubs works at, the logging company, and they're
it
carpenters.
sounds like probably like they were, but now they're like timber exporters or something. They've moved up in the game to like.
You're maybe like even real estate, like building houses could be even like that aspect of carpentry.
Yeah,
sorry,
started
come
as
again?
like we made
Real
tables,
estate?
then we made houses.
making
Now
houses.
we're real estate developers.
Yeah.
Maybe they
That's
make
cool.
and then sell houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they're like a band.
Oh my god.
Sing,
Nope.
You would say
Bad.
that.
Bad.
Woodlake.
Yeah, so let's say, and that is what they did, what they're still doing, but as the times have changed or are changing, they're not as big in that business, or not as big a name in that business anymore. And then Grandma Dub says, yeah, I don't remember the girl's name though, but I do remember she was a carpenter, because the family, they were very adamant about keeping everything about their daughter's death under wraps. They were very. It was almost like, if I remember correctly, that one day we heard, yes, she had died, and that they had already buried her, and then yes, they never said what happened, and then what happened to the other. There were three. It was Adam, and then this girl, and they left the party, and then they split. at least that's how the official story goes. And then the next morning they found Adam. And then about 2-3 months later, the girl died. And then the other friend, I also don't remember his name, but I think he vanished for some time. I mean, if you can imagine, first turning one of your friends turning up terribly mauled, you know, by a bear or whatever it was, and then losing a friend 3 months later. Yeah, they said that he left the town for quite some time.
The people that left the party, did they come to the hospital to get looked at like we did?
No, actually, I think I'm trying to remember, but if I remember correctly, and you should look in your those cell phones of yours, because this was such a big case, and just 2 years ago there was this, what do you call it, a podcast, I still don't understand what that is.
Where they
Really?
talk?
Someone
Well-
came and asked you about it?
Oh, yes. But that was earlier. That it was a different podcast. But there was this lady who was who not in the 70s, but when was that? 10 years ago. She rolled up the whole story in a very big fashion, and a lot of people here weren't too happy about that.
I'm already like looking stuff up on the phone.
I
Quinn
would
is just furiously clicking through related articles on the Wikipedia entry he found.
Okay, if you're each looking at your own cell phone, you can both roll me a search.
Okay.
If anybody is looking over their shoulders, you can roll for help, but otherwise you make
it probably makes sense to focus on one person, so I'm happy to like be helping Leah because my mind is bad.
Right.
So I'd rather.
I don't know if you were going to research similar things.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just digging into, like, I mean,
Yeah.
my rough
Great.
idea was the people who went missing, patterns, anything, about. So I'm like, just providing corroborating facts and so on for Leah.
Okay. So it's mind?
Search is no, it's census. No, it's
Census? Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
That is a 6.
But nope.
Nope.
But no.
We used
Well,
Bing instead.
Yeah.
While they do
Unfortunately, my
that,
help is mostly distracting.
did you try clicking on the shut up? I think Mila's gonna text Lorraine asking if she can let her know if anything crazy pops up again, because she's looking into what happened with her and her friends. Like, she'll probably be like, I'll bring you in those, the tea that you like or the coffee that you like, and she gets it from here and usually brings it into work for her, so, she can work the night shift.
Yeah. Okay, I took a note. Of that. Okay, even with that poor roll, I think at least I think the one thing you would have at least stumbled upon, looking at, the general happenings around what is called Acid Valentine, is that you get the three names of the three people, so Adam and his friends who left the party, and so the name of the girl, or is that her family name is Carpenter, and her first name was Eliza Carpenter. So Quinn, you realize that you thought her name was Eve, but it wasn't. It started with an E, but it was Eliza Carpenter. And then the other friend's name was David Baker. And then Grandma Dubs is like, I think I can. I mean, I have a laptop myself, and so here's the thing with Grandma Dubs and technology. she pretends that she's really stupid about it for some reason, but she actually knows her way around. Just the basic stuff. You know how email works, and but she likes to pretend that she doesn't.
She's performing the old lady who doesn't get tech.
Yeah.
And so she's this lady with this podcast 10 years ago, the one who really dug into it and upset quite a few people. I think I can find her name again. And Dubs.
Mm-hmm.
As you are all sipping away at your drinks and munching on the thing, you see outside. Yes. So there are several bigger windows. Sort of one half of the front of the house was changed, so it's not just normal windows, but it's actually really big front windows in some areas, and so you can see outside, and because something caught your attention out of the corner of your eyes, and you see on the it must be on the porch, there's a person standing there, and at first you think like, this can't be possible, but you're seeing Hannah, who's standing on the porch and is just looking at you, and maybe you're about to say something, but all of a sudden you feel like as if you're locked into your body. And Mila and Leia, your cell phones ring, vibrate, whatever way they signal that you got a text.
Yep, I check it right away.
Both of you got a text from Alex saying Hannah is missing.
What?
And then Dubs, you still stare outside.
Mila goes to tell his grandma that she's missing while this is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you for all of you just see Dubs sort of as if he's just miles away with his thoughts, but he doesn't necessarily look weird. He doesn't look like he's rigid all of a sudden. But Dubs, this is how you feel, that you cannot move. You're locking eyes with Hannah, and Hannah is holding a wooden box in her hands.
Can I speak?
Yes, you can.
Hey, there's Hannah.
So I think Quinn has heard Hannah is missing. Hey, there's Hannah, and he's like,
yeah.
What?
Well,
She looks
because
to-
I'm sitting next to Quinn, and so I'm like showing him the.
Yeah.
the
But I think see the
Right,
message
Hannah's
here.
missing.
Hey, there's Hannah, and like jump over
What?
and like
Yeah.
look in the same direction.
Yeah. We'll look over.
Yeah, and
Scooby Gang.
you do see her. You all see
God.
her, and she's just standing there in a nightgown,
I
and
can't
she's
move.
holding. I mean, it's already outside.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dubs, you're still as if you're in trance, locking eyes with Hannah, and your normal thoughts drift away, and everything becomes hazy, and you just focus on Hannah's eyes, and all of a sudden, there are words coming from your mouth, and you don't know where these words are coming from, but you know that Hannah is speaking them or saying them at the same time, and all of you see, if you notice it, her mouth moving, and what you're saying is, and in a very flat and monotone voice, I am me, and I am 3.
And I think
And that
Quinn-
is where we end season 2.
spook. The spooks.
Yes,
Dun, dun,
yes, spooks.
dun.
Oh,
Little bit.
dear.
I'm putting that in our group chat so I remember.
I am me and I am 3.
Oh,
Yep,
she's just so cute, little 3-year-old.
Oh, I am me, I am free.
Please no hauntings, a woo.
No.
We're all gonna die.
So just to recap very quickly, both Quinn and UW, by now you can remove the harms that you took from falling and from hitting your head. Again, Quinn, you still have this nasty bump and it's gonna hurt for a bit, but it's nothing. Right. And then Leia, I don't know, if you accepted any of the help from the nurses, they probably would have pushed you.
Yeah.
To,
Oh, she absolutely would have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then, you can remove that harm.
Okay.
But not the breaking points.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get to roll at the beginning of next session as well.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, guys,
Awesome.
we're fucked. Feel
So
free
well.
to join us not next weekend, but the weekend after.
Cool.
No, next weekend.
Is it next weekend?
The 6th. Mm-hmm.
Yes, guys, I'm a liar. Sunday, next weekend. Join us again. Same
Lie
time.
crimes.
1 p.m. EST.
Yeah.
Can I do a quick plug for
Yeah, of
something
course.
that is happening in literally 20 minutes? So, hello, people of the internet. If you've enjoyed my role-playing here but think, Quinn, he's just so, like, a regular human. What if instead Finbar played, say, a large rock outcropping called Jumbo, as he performs in a circus with other lovely fairy peoples? Feelings First, my podcast about gay fairy circuses, is doing a live stream one-off this evening in 20 minutes over on twitch.tv/AshleyNova to celebrate the launch of Under Hollow Hills' Kickstarter, because we really like this game. So please come hang out. That would be swell.
Hell yeah. I thought you said fairy sex.
Yeah, me too.
I heard it too. I heard that.
That is a less frequent part of the show.
But it's still part of the show, guys. Go check it out.
It shows up, but yeah.
I'm gonna post your Twitter thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
Thank you very
speaking of
much.
podcasts, latest Runelanders Rapscallions just dropped. So if you have been following that, you could come listen to that and listen to my totally not a necromancer. No.
Of course not.
She's just a funeral director. Yes. Not a necromancer. That would be bad and
It
illegal.
would be also a really weird and far-fetched combination there. Like, who would think?
Oh,
that?
yeah, right? Like, no one would suspect a funeral director being
You know, that
necromancer,
that profession notoriously made up of entirely non-creepy people. Funeral
Exactly,
directors.
right? Yeah, perfectly innocent.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is everybody thinking?
I think we're fucked.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
ghosts.
Yeah.
This entire
love
town
it,
is
though.
haunted. We should burn it down and run.
Yes.
I'm
Grandma,
liking it because
Grandma Dubs is gonna get the flamethrower out.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's fun playing the very like straight laced, totally normal person, navigating this
Yeah, I'm
weird
just trying
ass
to
world, right?
I'm trying to walk the line between like a person who's probably somewhat doesn't think magic is real and is like also going, yeah, I just saw some weird shit and I'm ready to believe anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Um,
because I feel like Leia isn't necessarily a gullible person. I definitely feel she has critical thinking skills. So she would obviously she'll look for other explanations.
She's the Velma.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll definitely look for other
Jinkies.
explanations long before she would go for something supernatural. So
Yeah. That's
Well,
fair.
it's
then I
gonna
guess I
so
have
it's
to
gonna be
just
fun, like
Try harder.
facing her with something supernatural, that she cannot deny in any respect.
She said it, not me. Don't kill me. But we'll be back next week. If you guys do want to go check out the game that we're playing right now, there's a link over there, right there. You guys should go check it out because this is fucking dope. That's why. If you guys want to see any work from anyone else here, all of our links for Twitter and all that good stuff, I put a bunch of stuff in the chat. Also the links on Twitter. But we'll see you guys next week for some more spooky shenanigans.
Spook-nanigans.
Bye.